All right, everybody, welcome on back. It's the You Got to Try This podcast with me, Large, and behind the ones and twos, we have my trusty sidekick. By the way, is that demeaning for me to say trusty sidekick?
No, trustee sounds like I manage your money, but trusted sidekick, I feel like you trust me.
Did I say trustee sidekick?
Yeah.
I see that's where the world, right, of finance comes back around with the whole thing. With my trusted sidekick, the Robin to my, I can't say I'm Batman because I have bad knees. I don't know what it is, but we'll work it out. But anyway, so it's Ian. Ian's the guy who does everything so it doesn't look like this is shot on a potato. Listen, I have some very exciting news to start this podcast with. I have a lot of exciting news for this podcast. This podcast is brought to you guys by Pepsi. We had done something where we shot me, I think, eating a cheesesteak or chopped cheese somewhere, and I had a Pepsi with it. And I'd said in the review, Pepsi just makes food taste better. And it was from just kind of saying that Pepsi, who's already been in-house with Barstool, they do a lot of stuff with Chef Donnie. They were like, we'd love that. And then they started to look at our stuff and they were like, can we be a sponsor here too? And I was like, can you? It's fantastic. So welcome aboard, Pepsi. Thank you so much. Food deserves Pepsi is one of the things that I've always said. Pepsi makes food taste better. Pepsi enhances the flavor of your food. Pepsi makes flavors pop. All these things to me are a truism. So welcome aboard, Pepsi. And then you guys should know that your food deserves Pepsi. So run out and get it wherever it's sold or order it in restaurants, wherever you go, and enjoy Pepsi with your next meal. Thank you so much for being on board with You Got to Try This. Let's get to this episode. We've got what I think is a very good get. Even though he's an old friend of mine, he's a gentleman named Michael Ferraro. And Mike's done everything in this industry. I find him to be wildly interesting. If you are a foodie, I don't know if that's still a thing, but if you watch the Food Network, Mike Ferraro has been on, I think, Iron Chef America. He's done Chopped. He's been a judge on like Beat Bobby Flay. He's been all around. He was also on that show with John Taffer where they rescue restaurants, restaurant emergency? I don't know which one it is, but he was one of those guys that would go around and then try to clean up some restaurant that was going under with John Taffer. John Taffer was the loudmouth part, and then Mike was like the voice of reason or the professional guy. He's worked for big corporations. He's worked for himself. He's worked for hotels. He's been in old school restaurants. One was, I think, in a gay club where the actual kitchen was in a cave underneath and the pitch was off. So there was sewage coming in. He's got more New York City and restaurant stories than I've ever seen. So as far as I'm concerned, this guy is the bear. It's Michael Ferraro. He's coming up in just a second. Before we get to that, housekeeping wise, continue to send in your questions with your 5-star reviews. I have a very good question this week. I'm saving it for Mike. I'm going to save it for Mike Ferraro because I think it's one of those things that he can answer. Another thing. So we're having a big episode. We just started this interactive map. Is that fair to call it? I'm so bad with technical terms on this shit, but people are like, Large, where have you been? Where have you and Ian been that I can just sort of get it in one spot? And I remember when I first started watching Guy Fieri's thing, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, they actually made a whole website that's dedicated to the places that he's gone. And obviously that's his job. So he's been everywhere with corresponding videos of all his reviews. And I thought that was kind of a cool thing. So Ian's like, I can do that. I'm like, I can't. So Ian's come up with this map. What is it? It's everyone's loving this thing so far. And we're now living to populate this map with restaurants. So if people are in any town and they just happen to see on the map, hey, that was one of the large places, maybe they can click on and decide they want to go, right?
So if people want to go see the map themselves, any of our social pages, you click the link in the bio, it'll take you right to the map. And it's a shared Google map. So if you're an Apple Maps person, sorry. Google Maps just has this feature. It's super easy to use. And keep checking the map weekly because we're going to be adding new spots in new cities constantly. So it's not like something where we're putting out a list and that's the list. We're going to be continuing to add to this thing. So
yeah. So again, the reason I know that it's idiot proof is because I've used it. And even though I'm having a tough time putting into words, you guys get what I'm saying. It's a map of every place that we've been, and we're going to continue to go to places. Matter of fact, we're starting to ramp up the food reviews, we're doubling it. We're doing one a week. We're going to do 2 a week. Maybe we gravitate towards one, especially once NASCAR is over in November. I'll just have more time on my hands. So,
and we'll be able to fill up the map based on, I was telling Lars, there's spots in New York City. I'm like, we got to get some restaurants in these areas. These are dead spots on the map. And so you'll see those reviews, or they'll probably be out by now, spread out through the Upper West Side and other parts of Manhattan.
Right. So we're going to try, like, I think your buddy hit you when you were like beta testing this. Like, you guys haven't done anything in Murray Hill. Boom, I'll go and do some stuff in Murray Hill. But it also helps if you give me an idea of where we should try. At my age, I don't remember where I've been, right? I've been to so many goddamn places that I can randomly walk into a place and all of a sudden I'm like Gandalf. I'm like, ooh, I feel like I've been here before. But so any kind of recommendations are always very much welcome. I'm doing a little bit more traveling. I'll be, by the time this comes out, I will have been in Chicago. And then I'm going to do the oyster thing up in New England with Sydney. That might be around the time this comes out too. So we do have a lot of places that we can bang around and then do supplementary food stuff with. So again, we got Michael Ferraro coming up in just a minute. Before I get to that, I'd seen a headline. We always have to mention death row meals now. It seems to be like a thing with us. And also a couple other people in Barstool have been using the whole death row meal thing for social purposes, which, it's the sincerest form of flattery as far as I know. So a guy named Joe Mack, who follows me on social, had said someplace in Ohio. So this is a report from NBC4, WCMH TV in Ohio. There's a new horror museum called the Ohio Museum of Horror. It opened up in Galion, Ohio, and features a true crime theme restaurant called The Last Meal. This restaurant's menu will be inspired by the last meals requested by infamous criminals alongside serial killer themed drinks. This is that line that I didn't want Olive Garden to dance here, Ian. These guys are making a little bit of dough off of you having the same last meal as somebody who might have chopped up 12 kids and buried them under the house. I use that as an example because, like, John Wayne Gacy's last meal will be on the menu. It just consists of fried chicken and shrimp and strawberries. I believe that's what he had as his last meal. So you can have the John Wayne Gacy special. The reason that they're allowed to do this, or at least it doesn't sound like it would be a public relations nightmare, is that a portion of the restaurant's profits will be donated to victim support foundations. That's good news, right? That sort of gives us the permission to go and try this out. So I don't know where Galion, Ohio is, but I think it's a place that I have to try now. I got to get out to the Ohio Museum of Horror. I just need to be there, I guess, to check it out. And I got to try some of these last meals. So the museum had its grand opening on July 11th, so just a couple of weeks ago, and expect me to be out there soon. So if anyone knows anything around Galion, Ohio, we'll be putting a pin in that one on Ian's new map. Speaking of Ian, and I won't speak about him anymore after this, hottest new food influencer. I just happen to be on TikTok, and because we follow each other, sometimes I get some of his content. And last night I saw some food content from him. And I got to say, if you had to pick one word to describe Ian's food content, to me, that word is embarrassing. I think that he is absolutely a fucking disgrace. And listen, Ian's in good shape. He's going to live forever. I am not, and I am on borrowed time. But fucking taco meat step by step off the fucking box, and then he layers it in a hard taco shell that he doesn't even warm up. No creature comforts here with a little bit of grated cheese. There isn't a vegetable in there, like a sour cream perhaps, maybe a little bit of salsa, just some chopped cilantro, some white onion, anything, a jalapeno, to just anything to bring a little bit of heat, anything that you would want to make your taco special. Ian decided he didn't need. So this is a basic bitch taco by every definition. Did I use that term right, youngster? That's a basic bitch taco.
Yeah, I'd say it's almost step in step with the poverty nachos.
Poverty nachos, yeah.
Tostito. That's another thing that if I'm out at taco shells, just go Tostitos, make the poverty nachos and then just put the fucking ground beef on top.
Really?
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and microwave it all or no?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, of course. You gotta get the irradiation in on that. So if you follow me, you'll also know that you probably should be following Ian for that type of thing. It's a protein bomb though. That's what you're saying. You need like protein for whatever.
Kids and people my age, they're
Protein's big.
constantly trying to get their grams of protein in.
Yes.
And everyone, it seems, have these lofty protein goals. They have struggled to hit it. They're not hungry enough. They're not eating enough.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to give one meal, 4 tacos. It's literally, if you can eat 4 tacos, you can pretty much hit your daily protein intake in one meal.
Really?
Yeah.
I just started this podcast saying Pepsi makes food taste better. I think it would be an insult to have a Pepsi with that type of thing. That's how basic that is. It is, I'll use another kid's word, and this is no cap. That is mid at best, but I appreciate you. You're like, then you gave like a little tip. You put the tin foil in your sink. So when you poured out the grease, it didn't go down. It created a grease trap.
I was more so just trying to like save myself from the people who would inevitably yelled at me by because if I didn't show that, the people would be, oh, you just pour your grease down the drain. It ruins the drain, the landlord, yada, yada.
Yeah. Well, it is. I mean, it's thousands of dollars in plumbing. So I do appreciate that you have some degree of self-respect as that goes. So Ian is an influencer and I am officially not influenced. Go ahead.
The real hack though was at the end. It was when, I don't know if you caught that, but you have to eat the ground beef, the tacos as fast as possible without taking a sip
that's right.
of the drink.
If you guys
didn't even get to my drink.
If you know what ASMR is, there's a sound thing now that people like. When people mukbang, some people like to just listen to people gorging themselves. So Ian goes and he has, what'd you say, 4 tacos?
Yeah, 4 tacos.
4 tacos, pound of taco meat, cheese, taco meat. That's his creation. Ugh. And so he has 4 of those. He doesn't drink anything the whole time, but he has, do you ever see those? They're called NutriBullets. They're a type of blender that girls use to make smoothies. I'm just joking. I make a pesto on mine. And so it has like a removable thing, unlike a big blender, container. This thing is very much manageable. It's about the size of like a giant cup. He fills that with, I think, 2% milk.
Fat-free skim milk.
Fat-free skim milk. So now he places such a premium on keeping these terrible tacos warm that he eats those without taking a second to have any of his drink. And then after the tacos are done, then he drinks in all one gulp, and you can hear like as you can imagine listening to someone chug milk. Ugh. Oof. So, but the thing is, so he keeps the relative warmth of the tacos, but he gives up then the coldness of the milk. So you now know that this chug of the milk isn't that pristine, ice cold, I'm snapping, crisp milk that you get right out of the fridge. He keeps this shit next to 4 tacos. And then you're about to defend yourself. I'm not sure I want to give you a platform anymore.
I hear what you're saying. The milk gets warm,
yes,
but it actually doesn't because I'm pouring so much of it into the cup that it holds its coldness.
Okay. I'm saying that you could slip in half of that milk, turn the tacos without sacrificing that much from the tacos themselves. Either way, we'll move on. But that's Ian's, I don't know. It's awful. Listen, we just did I wanted to mention it. We did the Chicago street race a couple weeks ago for NASCAR, and the weather agreed. And even though it was very hot, they got the races in. I was able to walk around the street race course, and I tried a bunch of foods from a bunch of different vendors, and every vendor I went up to, huge line, except for one. There is a vegan food stand that they put out there for NASCAR fans. Empty. Like no one was going at this thing, even for like a bottle of water. I don't understand this. So one of the things that I learned again is that Ian can't cook and that vegans are not NASCAR fans. We're going to get to Mike Ferraro. By the way, this is a long interview. So sit into a long car ride or something, put it on 1.5 speed, whatever you guys need to do. because I think we really do hit everything on it. Before I go to him, let's do just a tiny bit of history. Do you ever get that guy on TikTok? His name is Justin Danger Nunley. And he goes, you ever see this guy? He's like a country dude, and he always gives like a weird fact. Wildly popular. I've seen him at a couple of NASCAR races. And I can't remember how he starts everything. Did you know? Or something like that. Anyway, he had said 32 states in the United States have state drinks. So how every state has its own flower, how every state has its own whatever dish, every state has its own flag, every state has its own state bird. They also have their state drink. And the reason I bring this up is 32 states have their own drink, not all 50. And out of those 32 states, 20 of them have the same drink. Would you have any guess what that drink might be in? Out of the 32 states that has an official state drink, 20 of them have the same drink. Do you know what it is? You should know.
Sweet tea.
It's milk. And I was shocked by that. 20 out of the 32 states have milk. Listen, declaring a specific beverage, a state beverage, began in the U.S. in 1965. Ohio was the first state to do it. And the official drink of Ohio is tomato juice, which I wouldn't have guessed. I know they give you some tomato juice in Indianapolis before you eat it at St. Elmo, but Ohio, the official state drink is tomato juice. I thought that was a little strange. 20 of the 32 are milk. One of the other things that I noticed too is that some states have a state cocktail, and 2 states in particular have the same cocktail, and I've never had it, and now I want to have it desperately. Maryland and Delaware have something called an orange crush or some shit like that. I got to look it up. Can you look it up? Same state cocktails.
Orange Crush.
An orange crush. Have you ever had this?
It's a mix of vodka, triple sec, orange juice, and lemon lime soda.
So a little splash of lemon lime soda on top of a vodka OJ and a little bit of triple sec. I think that sounds pretty refreshing for the summer. So I'm going to bang down an orange crush at some point during this weekend, and I'll be drinking the official alcoholic or cocktail of Maryland and Delaware. All right, and by the way, the state foods are much more diverse. I think I'm going to do a deep breakdown of those at some point. But that's it. Let's get to the interview. Again, Michael Ferraro, old friend of mine. We're going to go through soup to nuts. I hope you enjoy it. And here we go. All right, guys. So as promised, I'm about to sit down with this gentleman who's considered now an old friend of mine. Right? Yeah. Like we're old friends.
Yeah.
We met on a whim, and we're going to get into it the whole time. Sort of did that, I don't know, social media back and forth every now and then. How's it going, Mike? How's it going, Large? That type of thing. But you stay in contact. And now that I'm doing something about food, there really isn't anybody that I think is more perfect to have come in and just chat about the idea of food in general, opening up restaurants in New York City, going outside of his comfort zone with that type of shit. Just everything that there is to do involved with food, even all that like Food Network bullshit and the restaurant and all that stuff you seem to have done. So it's Chef Michael Ferraro. He's a friend of mine, and I really appreciate you carving out some time to get into here. I had mentioned this before you came in. We answer a letter or comment. We ask people to leave 5-star comments. And then in the comments section underneath the 5-star thing, you can send us a question. And that's the way that I trick people into giving us 5-star reviews. So, no, but it's like one of those good things, as opposed to if you tend to want to leave a 5-star review, also having some idea that you can have some sort of back and forth is kind of a cool idea. So that's what we do.
For sure.
I normally would answer it before a guest would come on, but I thought this one might resonate with both of us. Just from a guy named Fat Guy Nap. So right away, you know that you're kind of in bed with this dude,
Love
right?
him.
Yeah. 5-star, great show. I was wondering if you watched The Bear and what do you think of it? So that's the crux of the question I'm going to ask you. Then on top of it, he said, I'd like to hear Robbie Fox on the show. I'm going to have Robbie on at some point. And Big Cat. Yeah, whenever I go out to Chicago, I'll try to grab a couple of people like I did with Ohio State and Kadick. I got those guys the day everyone kind of got back from 4th of July vacation. So everyone was trying to do that catch-up thing. So Big Cat's definitely one of those guys that I'm going to grab. I'm going to grab Za. by far, Zaz, one of the ones who I think is the most extraordinary. Zaz, like a dwarf from Africa, works for us, used to be our producer for Barstool Breakfast. Guy's just all around one of the greatest guys you've ever meet. PFT wants to come on. Eddie, there's so many people out there in Chicago that I'd like to have on the show. So Big Cat is obviously near the top of the list because he's Big Cat. So it's one of those things where it's an eventuality, I'm hoping. And then finally he says, I love hearing old school Brooklyn spots, keep them coming from the nap. But the crux of that letter was wondering if you watched The Bear and what do you think of it? Do you watch it?
I've seen enough of it.
Okay. So I probably should have had Mike give you his resume beforehand. I'm going to do it afterwards, but just know that this guy's kung fu is strong. So from a guy who's been in and out of kitchens, open and closed restaurants, done everything in the business, what's your take on this extremely popular series with The Bear? I personally am starting to get sick of everyone calling each other chef. Is that something that in the finest kitchens that you worked at, wasn't one of those things where everybody was just chef, 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 or is that bullshit?
I think nowadays it's more like that. It's a more of a respect thing amongst each other.
Right.
Back in the day and in my kitchen, and when I was a young guy in the kitchen, we called the chef.
Right.
Right. The executive chef, the chef de cuisine. If it was a sous chef who you liked, you'd call him chef or her chef, but not everybody else. So, with the show, look, I appreciate and I like the storyline, right? Because, here I am. I mean, when we met, I was a much younger guy.
Right.
And
not better looking though. You've aged very well.
Thank you, sir. The storyline of it, of this guy that kind of goes back to like the family and the roots after going to fine dining is actually, as the years go on, Large, and a lot of my chef friends say the same thing. You kind of get back to that, right?
Right.
You're a young chef and you're climbing, like you said, you're trying to do the TV things. You're trying to get the awards, the accolades, all this sort of stuff. And then just like life, as it goes on, you're like, really, what the fuck am I doing this for?
Right.
Like, what's the purpose of this? And really, you just want to enjoy what you do. And that's cooking. And you want to cook the food you love. Right. We'll get into it later, but It's kind of similar to what I'm going through now. What I don't like about the show, and again, everybody from the outside in says, first thing when someone meets you, oh, you're a chef. Do you party? Do you do this? You do drugs and blah, blah, blah. Do you ever have any time off or anything like that? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So now the show has to make it like that. That, the camera winging around, chef, chef.
Yeah.
Everybody's going crazy, right? And we said it before briefly, it kind of gives you anxiety.
I find it to be a very anxious show.
Yes.
And like, I remember when Adam Sandler put out Uncut Gems, I was like, thank God I'm not chemically imbalanced right now because my heart would blow up. And I find that a lot of the anxiety that they have in that show, I relate to. So the show wants to do that. So I think it's an absolute success as far as that goes.
Correct.
I don't like what they did to my Jamie Lee Curtis. I had a sock named after her when she first showed her rack in Trading Places years ago. And then I retired the sock, took it out of retirement when she did True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger and went in that little black dress, right? And then I'm like, oh, Jamie Lee Curtis can be on. Do I retire the sock? And no, Jamie Lee, they put the nail in the fucking coffin because they make her out to be, obviously everybody gets older. And I think, Jamie Lee Curtis will be a very pretty corpse. I think that she's a pretty woman throughout her life. But man, they make her out to be a crazy bitch, right? Imbalanced and all that kind of stuff. And everybody has that, I'm answering the question for Fat Guy Nap still. I do like the show. I kind of wish there was some more food in there. I kind of wish they would use maybe Maddie Matheson more for some of that comedy relief that you got in the first season and kind of into the second season. But now it's really turned into just this tremendous drama.
Yeah.
There are enough characters there that you can like and dislike some of them. And I always like that. You need somebody to hate within the cast and whatnot. So it's a very well done show. I liked the first season quite a bit. I fell even deeper into the second season, even though like the anxiety level had risen, the drama, I haven't been able to get through the third season yet, but I just haven't been in the right headspace.
Yeah.
So it makes me not want to open up a restaurant though. I don't know if that's what it's set out to do. Like just separate the wheat from the chaff and say, listen, you're too fucking weak to do this job.
Yeah.
So that's what it's done for me. Is that sort of something that people who have opened up restaurants maybe want people to have, that dose of reality?
Well, you definitely need the dose of reality. And, I think back in the day, early culinary school days and, the era of me being a line cook in New York City, which was from September 11th on, and then, I left just 4.5 years ago. So you do need that because you get people with unrealistic expectations that come in the door. But you know what the show is missing? There's some beautiful moments in restaurants, and they're the simple ones. When you're heading into busy service and you guys are going to be in the shits, right?
Yeah.
And you got your team. Your A team's there tonight. Man, there's a lot of shit talking, people giggling and laughing, telling jokes. Then as the night goes on, even when it's hectic, but you got the A team there, you kind of, it's like going into battle, but your crew's there.
Yeah. And
it's a great time. You see somebody going into the shits, you go over, you help them out. Even when things are wild. I mean, I remember when I was a line cook, man, me and my buddies on the line used to sing. And the chef would get so fucking mad.
Really?
Right. And whistling is a sign of disrespect in the kitchen. It's like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. If somebody whistles in the kitchen, it's another way of telling the chef to go fuck himself.
Really?
Yep. So when we couldn't sing it, it just come out naturally. You whistle a little bit, they get mad and yell at you to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
But those moments. And
is that an Italian thing?
No.
Okay, because I think we're going to see a lot of this interview go through an Italian-American lens, right?
Yeah,
a culture that I love. Growing up in Brooklyn, it's one that I cherish almost as much as my Irish culture, right?
Yeah.
Because I spent so much time just kind of appreciating it and being a little bit of a wannabe Gindaloon. I always wanted. I used to have the hair parted down the middle and whatnot. So I never know whether it's going through the chef lens. Like I know never to put chopsticks in rice straight up and down because it resembles like the funeral incense in Japanese culture. So that's a fucking no-go. Like, there's certain things like that, which I know are cultural, but I didn't know that was one of those things that's just kind of an accepted chef thing. No whistling.
Whistling is it was from the era before me, but I know, the first time I learned it was essentially like in a French New American restaurant.
Right.
And, I'm always, like I said, me and my buddies just sing on the line. And then we'd whistle and somebody came over and was like, don't whistle, man. The chef's going to get pissed. And I'm like, fuck, dude, I can't sing. I can't whistle.
Right.
Like, no. He takes it as a fuck you. It's like a thing. And I was like, really? And then I would slip up on a whistle and I'd see his face and be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. Apologies, chef.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's now that I'm putting more thought into this show than I ever have because this question, by the way, thanks for sending in, Nap. That's how he signed it, by the way. His handle is Fat Guy Nap, but he just signed it Nap. I love the fact that he's got, like, we have nicknames now, which is cool. Like, you know what I mean? I'm Large Guy Nap, but I'm just large. But yeah, I guess without us being more involved with the food, and I guess that's what I want selfishly because I love the food. So other than seeing, them staging it and throwing it away right away, which kind of sends shivers down most people's spines and stuff like that. That's what I think that the show might be missing, and a little bit of levity. Just, I don't know, just throw in a Christmas special or something just to fucking break it up with me. I will watch the third season. I'll watch it as long as it goes. I love the guy whose cousin, like when he had gone to, learn in that famous restaurant and they were doing something where they put together a very special night for somebody at the table. He's like, I found out it was their birthday. They wanted a Chicago dog. I'm going to do all that kind of, that stuff really does attract me because I'm attracted to the service industry and how you guys, when I walk into the door, if it's done right, there's always the best restaurants to me are ones that provide a little bit of a personal touch.
Yeah.
And again, I find that the Italians do that best. You feel like you're sitting at a family table.
Yeah. And these days when it comes to hospitality in general, and especially when you branch out, I've been living in Florida for 4.5 years now. The chefs that were highly trained are the ones that push the bar of these special experiences. Because look, I always say, like, chefs, we dedicate our whole lives into it, right?
Right.
We stumble into, even if you did stumble into a job, you get your shit kicked.
Yeah.
But you have to love it and you have to want more. Well, you're like, hey, I'm not making any money here. I can go and make more money doing essentially anything,
Right.
you know? So you got to stay in it. So the chef's hearts are in it, and they always want to make these experiences, and they learn through the way. I got to get another job for experience. I got to do this. I got to do that. A lot of managers out there, they just stumble into it. And then when they get up to the top, they finally say to themselves, this moron's going to pay me this much money and give me all this to be in charge of these people.
Mhm.
And it doesn't really turn into how you can elevate the experience. Now, again, there's a lot of great, front of the house people out there, highly trained and influential for sure. But I'm talking like, especially when you move out of New York City, that some of that experience will disappear. And what I found in like the last 4.5 years for me, it's my mind is always racing. I mean, I remember when I worked at the Four Seasons in New York.
Right.
And it was actually the kitchen right before Robuchon came in. So it was called 5757. It was 3 stars in the New York Times. This is before Michelin. And Robuchon was coming in. And, Four Seasons New York, 5-star, 5 diamond, all that stuff.
You got to stop right here. When I'm talking to people now in the industry and they just like, and Robuchon's coming in, I'm like, oh yeah. Like it just kind of, it's good for casual people. And I hope casual people who are watching or listening who just love Food Network or just love like the whole idea behind it to, sometimes you'll be talking to somebody in Hollywood and they'll be like, yeah. And then Jimmy walked in. I'll be like, James Caan? They'd be like, yeah, Jimmy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just so you know, it does give me a little culinary fucking blood flow where it shouldn't, talking about, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, this was like, even for me, and I mean, through my whole career cooking in New York City, I've had these moments, right? So when Robuchon was coming to New York to put Robuchon in that space in the Four Seasons, we actually cooked for him 3 times. And it was the most wild thing to me. I was like, here we got, a legend, modern godfather of cooking.
Yeah.
And he's coming into dining with us 3 times to say, can I put my New York flagship restaurant here? Right. Unbelievable time, right? I remember each time when he came in, a lot of pressure. And, at the time I went to go work there because the chef of the hotel in 97 was like the highest ranking Bocuse d'Or person in America at the time, which was number 7. So, before that I was working for John George. I was making no money, right? No insurance, no nothing. I was like, shit, I got an ear infection. I couldn't afford the hospital bill. So I had to call my dad and say, Dad, I need money for the hospital bill. Then I was like, shit, I really need a job that I make some money or have insurance. So I went to the Four Seasons, but I chose the Four Seasons because the chef Brooke Vasica that was there was this highly ranked Bocuse d'Or competitor back in the day. So it was a wild ride. But what we did, talking about getting back to like those touches.
Yeah.
When people will come and dine there, each day, even as the group of cooks and the chef de parties, and we would get together and say, what is a fun gift for the guests tonight? So one day the pastry chef would be like, I'm going to batch out something cool, right, and we're going to send it home with them with a note in the bags. I mean, this was 2002, right?
Okay.
Like now you go to EMP, something like that. They leave you leaving with luggage, right? You got granola, exactly. You got all this sort of stuff. This was back in the day, 2002 or so. And the chef allowed us to come up with ideas. So I would say, hey, I want to do, a middle course. And then as I went on from there, and I'd be like, what about a middle course? Or what about this? People look at me like, what are you talking about? Right. But it was so much about hospitality, and the cooks got involved in it as well. It wasn't just the chef saying, because I know what it's like now, 44-year-old chef now, we all have our old tricks. Yeah. But when you meet young talent, you want them to shine. Of course. Give me some ideas. So, man, we used to do touches like that back in the day. But it's funny, when you get outside of New York City or a certain caliber restaurants, it's unheard of. Right. It's really, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to do these things. You just got to use this, Yeah.
I don't know. To your point, I think that would make the experience better at a diner in Alabama.
For sure. Imagine if you got a bag with the dry biscuits and it said, just add butter, just add this. Yeah. And you walked out of there with just the dry goods and a little note. You'd be like, holy shit, man, look at what they're doing here.
Yeah, that would be, I just got it.
Wow.
So for people who don't know or who are listening to this on podcast networks, not on YouTube or wherever else this streams, I'm not what they call an athletic guy, but there was a sizable horsefly coming. I just noticed it as you were talking, and it was taking my fucking thing. It just landed on my J's, and I just got it. It's dead on my shoe right now. I believe I'm smushing the shit out of this thing in case it found an air pocket. I don't want to let it go. And oh my God, did it fucking escape? Might have escaped. Well, either way.
The only thing would have been more impressive if you did it with chopsticks.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look at Bear and you take away some stuff to it, and you're like, oh, I like the drama around it. I like the storytelling. I like the family aspect. I like this. Maybe culturally, it's pretty cool. What is the TV show or movie that I think most chefs say, man, they fucking nailed this kitchen? I mean, I speak to boxers a lot, and they're like, Creed, come on. You know what I mean? Like, but there's always something that they'll be like, but this Raging Bull really caught this. Or you speak to guys who had served bravely in our military, and they'll be like, but this, that really gets the experience of boot camp on up. So as a guy who's been in and around the culinary world for quite some time, what's that one Hollywood vehicle that nailed it for you?
I've seen this movie.
Oh, there's one right at the tip of your tongue?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've seen it well over 50 times because I'm going to tell you why also.
Okay.
The office that I had in Florida, kind of cool office like this, Google-ish, TVs everywhere, whatever. I didn't want to sit at like a desk, right? So I would go in kind of like the workspace. We had TVs all over the place, beautiful office. And every fucking day I'd be there first.
Right.
And I'd make coffee or whatever. And I put on repeat with the sound off, Ratatouille.
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, a lot of people say that, Ratatouille. Yeah.
And now here I am, right? I was like, VP and, some people not, a little timid to come over and talk that weren't on my team or whatever. And they just must be like, this guy's fucking weird, man. He comes in here. Here's this New York City guy, right? I'm the first kind of New York guy that joins the company. This is before, the boom of Michelin in Orlando and everything. And they're like, this guy comes in, dress the part every day, and then get my coffee, go sit down in the workspace. I put Ratatouille on every day on repeat.
Really?
And then as people started to get to know me, they're like, do you seriously like watch this every fucking day? As a background setting, but I love the movie. If it's ever on, if I'm on a plane,
it's background.
Thomas Keller was the consultant in that
movie. I didn't do a deep dive into it, but I did just recently read something that told me about some of the nuances of that movie being absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
But even after reading that, I still didn't put it on the list of something that you might say. Honestly, like that. You ever see Chef with Favreau where he does like the food truck? People tend to. There's all those ones. I think Bradley Cooper had done one, which kind of had that similar Bear type fine dining, Yes Chef type bullshit to it. So I didn't know, but Ratatouille, I have to go back to it.
Great movie, great movie, and it's because it kind of hits all boxes that, and like what I said to you before is that there's a lot of nice times in a kitchen. Look, people are telling me they're like, you just left kind of like the corporate world, corporate position, all this and that. You're going to go open up your own restaurant again, and I'm like, there's an empty part of me. And that movie, honestly, it hits so many aspects of it where you got the underdog. And trust me, when I went to CIA, I worked at, family, friends, restaurants, or whatever. I remember we were in gastronomy. And that day we're going to try sweetbreads, right? And now I'm playing it off. I'm looking around the room like, sweetbreads. I'm thinking they're going to have a panettone or something coming in the room, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea what sweetbreads is.
Oh, really? Okay.
No clue. No, I mean, all these family Italian restaurants. I was like 19 at CIA, something like that.
CIA, Culinary Institute of America.
Yep.
This guy's actually educated. Sweetbreads is pound cake soaked in milk. Order them next time you're at a fucking
you'll
thing.
love them. So they came around, but that's where I came from, right? I knew how to cook, but not in that level. So, when the kid kind of walks in and the rat takes him under his wing, and then this like really French style kitchen, there were parts of that where you're like, I would appreciate that more than the chef of the Bear.
Yeah.
So Ratatouille, amazing movie, man. I
have to ask that with other people. I do. I really, because when you had said that you had an emptiness inside of you that could only be filled with, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, I think that's where you were going on it, with the absolute madness, the absolute blood in your stool, the absolute tear your hair out. experience of opening and owning a restaurant. And I spoke with, so I had Eric, Chef Greeny in here. You know, Eric, I love him. So he was in there. He's like, he's opening up a Jewish deli in LA.
Awesome.
And he's more lit up, and he's had restaurants close on him, different type of relationships and ventures, 100% fail. But he's like, my kids are now at an age where I don't have to be there for them all the time. Right. So I'm going to go back to the fucking whip. I can't wait to do it. And I said, is that because you're a part psychopath? He's like, anyone who owns a restaurant is.
Yeah.
I had Stratus Morphigan in here, and Stratus is one of these guys that has a lot of stuff in and around New York City, and Stratus, it's the same thing. He's part. I like to think you're saying it's an empty hole inside of you. I like to think that you have something wrong with you. You know what I mean? Like not like the big guy from Mindhunters, but sort of like that. Look, so I want to just take a step back because I want to just give people a quick background now that we've chatted a little bit about your background. So you give it to me just like the Cliff Note version of what Michael Ferraro has done.
So both parents from Southern Italy, Calabria. And this is not when Calabria was a vacation destination.
Okay.
We used to go back as a kid, forget it. So grew up cooking, digging the garden, making the supersat, making the wine, pickling the veg, tomato sauce, forget it. We had racks and racks and racks on the babes.
Jars.
Kids would come to my house. They see sausage hanging in the basement and be like, what the fuck is going on? Wow. Is that sausage? I'm like, yeah, you guys don't have sausage?
Dried sausage.
Literally off of the pipes in the basement.
I'm breaking in again. I worked at Citigroup with a gentleman, Vincenzo, I called him, from Staten Island, I believe.
I just saw my cousin Vincenzo yesterday.
Oh, this guy, he's one of the best people, very good at his job, the whole deal. And he used to tell me stories. There was another girl that I worked with, Tina Derico, and she used to bring me in jars of tomatoes after like whatever, the harvest, and they would jar them. She'd bring me in just a couple of jars. And then Vinny would tell me about one of his relatives that used to hang supersad in the garage outside.
Yep.
So if he was a kid going around on his tricycle, when it was time to go home, there'd be little fat stains, as the thing starts to render. Yeah, the thing would sweat and it would essentially drop this, which I'm thinking is better than any Dracar that I wore when I was a fucking kid. So again, like if you guys think that I'm not proud of my Irish heritage, I'm very much proud of my Irish heritage, and I'll fight any woman that has a problem with that. But I've never gone around on a fucking tricycle and had supersad fucking drip on me. You know what I mean? I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep interrupting. I apologize.
But as a kid, you thought it was the worst thing, right?
Yeah.
Because here we are, this immigrant Italian family, growing up in a suburban neighborhood. Everybody around us is different. Doctors, lawyers, this, that, right? We're the restaurant family, right? So we're the essentially the poor family in the block. I was also telling somebody, we had fig trees in the backyard. You got to bury fig trees in the winter?
The only reason I know that is because my wife had an Italian girl who worked for her. What the fuck was her name? It was like a Gabby or something like that. And when we got married, she brought us back a fig tree from the old country.
Yep.
I don't know how she got it through customs. The whole bulb was wrapped in tinfoil.
Yeah.
Mike, it was the darkest soil I've ever seen in my life. Like she just pulled it out of this volcanic fucking soil and we planted it. And in one part of our garden, when we had our first house, we had this really well manicured garden, St. John's wort up in the corner. I didn't do any of it. I had somebody do it. I've never mowed a lawn. I'm 53 years old.
Wow.
I've never mowed a lawn in my life.
See, Italians love doing that. I love mowing.
Yeah. And they love pushing the Italian broom with the fucking hose out.
Washing the driveway.
Washing the driveway.
Nobody knows about washing the driveway.
Pushing the Italian broom. Look it up. If it's not there, then I'll put it there. But it was one of the best gifts we've ever gotten.
Yeah.
And when we moved houses, like this thing had taken root over the couple of years or however many years that we were there, I felt that it would be disrespectful to move it. It was almost like a selling point for the house that we had. So when you keep saying this, it shouldn't resonate with me, Michael McCarthy. But fuck, man, Michael Ferraro, it should. But it should resonate. So anyway, so your dad is a restaurant owner. You got fig trees in the backyard. You're canning tomatoes once a season. You're hanging super sod.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I went to regular college. I was horrible in school, man.
Okay.
I got kicked out of Catholic school in second grade.
Really?
Yeah.
For?
I would fight
Dealing
every
drugs?
day, and I refused the nuns. This is back in the day when the nuns would try to like slap your hand,
Yeah.
right? And as a stubborn Italian kid, I'm like, you can't fucking do that. What are you doing?
Fuck you.
So me and this kid Bartley Williams, I tried to look him up years ago, but I mean, we were kids. We fought every day.
Really?
Every day, me and Bartley Williams. And my dad was running a pizzeria, right? And Fridays was pizza day at this Catholic school. And my dad's 84 now. I was laughing with him the other day about it. He would come to drop off the pies, right? Huge stack of pies. They had the big table in the front. I was on one end, Bartley was on the other. And I was laughing at my dad. I said, Dad, how many times I was at that table? He said, oh man, forget about it, man. You were the worst. You were oh no, but you turned out all right. Everybody thought I was going to be in jail.
Right. Punk.
But yeah, definitely me and my friends. But thankfully, my brother and brother-in-law opened the bar when I was 18 in my brother's college town. And I said, I'll come. I'll help run the kitchen. I mean, we all knew how to cook.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is honorary Guinea now too. He's a Scottish. He's honorary.
His Scottish Italians are a very rare breed,
he
but
loves
there's something else.
He loves it.
Yeah.
And so I used to run the kitchen.
I'm braver than your fucking heart. I just made that up. Braveheart. I did it. I don't know.
And then I would go bartend at night. And my brother said to me, he goes, dude, what the fuck are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I'm still fucking around with my friends and all that stupid shit. And he goes, you should go to CIA. And at this time, I'm like, I can't, I don't think I'm going to get into CIA. My brother, smart dude, man, older brother, always looked out for me. And he goes, dude, we're going to apply. Let's write the thing. Help me along the way, got into CIA. Now I'm like, what the fuck did I get myself into, right? Because here I am is the Italian kid that really only knows the Italian stuff. I mean, my parents cooked every day. Every single day they cooked. So, we dined out twice a year. So the whole thing was kind of new to me, but I knew how to run in a kitchen because all my friends, families had restaurants.
Right.
It was in me. I mean, my house was kind of like a freaking restaurant,
Sure.
you know? So I go to CIA and, start to go through it. I'm like, whatever, this is fine. And I was applied to my externship. Now, I actually told this story when I was the commencement speaker at CIA.
Okay.
And so Bourdain was my commencement speaker.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was the first time he spoke at the school.
Wow.
Awesome. He drank with us at a bar up at CIA that was called the Hobnob. It was across the street. And he drank with us. Dude, and this guy, he was kicking it with like the 19-year-old chicks from CIA. Like, this was awesome. And the class is small, right?
Yeah.
So we're all there, and whoever was there got to drink with them that night. Imagine this now. At that time, 16 years later, CIA asked me to be an ambassador for the school and come up and do the commencement speech. I had to plan a trip to go to Majorca with some friends the week before.
Spain, yeah.
Bourdain passes away. So now I had my speech and all this sort of stuff and I'm headed to Majorca. I'm like, fuck, dude, this whole thing just changed for me, right?
Yeah.
Also, he was my speaker. And how ironic this was,
I know. Yeah.
So, I basically teared up the speech and I put all bullet points. And it started with the Bourdain thing of, 16 years ago, I sat there and Bourdain stood here.
Right.
But I told the story about kind of like the underdog thing. And this gets me to CIA. I changed it and didn't say it was about CIA because I'm giving a freaking speech at CIA.
Sure.
When I went to go do my practical, there was a chef at CIA. And I mean, dude, I did well in school and always, I knew how to cook, So this guy was a real dick. The guy who never made it. That empty void in him stayed in him.
Okay.
And as you go to present your practical, you got to time it out, right? Just like you're picking up food at a restaurant.
Wait, what's practical? This is something
It's like an exam. You got to take two of them. You got to take one before you go on your internship or externship was what they call it there. And then the other one before you're set to graduate. So it's like 2 cooking practicals.
Okay.
So this guy was a dick, and he would beat down on kids. And when I went to go put my food up, technically it was perfect, but the food was cold. Dude, this motherfucker ripped me apart, man.
Right.
He ripped me apart, failed me.
Really?
Yep. Failed me. And I had to go to externship, right? You don't pass this. You don't go on.
Yeah.
Dude fucking ripped me, dude. Then he went on to tell me that I'm wasting my parents' money and this isn't for everyone. He felt like it was his duty to beat up on a kid, for a practical, which those are like the really old days. And it's really because you're unhappy, I feel like chefs that achieve their goals are a lot happier and they mentor people better. But I told that story, but I made it towards like a job that, this guy tried to get me to fucking leave CIA, man. Oh man, I don't know what.
Tried to get you out of the industry.
Tried to get me out, and I was like, man, when my beautiful profile pic was up in the hallway and CIA that week, I was like, I hope this guy, he'll never remember me, but I hope I see him. So I went
jokes on it.
Went to CIA. My externship was the fucking week of September 11th.
Wow.
So,
and we spoke about this when we did a thing with Willie. Not
unbelievable, huh? So I was going to work for Waldy Maloof. Luckily, Waldy had a place in Connecticut, same restaurant called Beacon, and said, man, I can't take you in the city, but you can go here. Talk about like, when you think you're down and out, like the industry is going to end. I was like, I'm getting into industry that's going to fail in New York City.
Yeah.
I went to Beacon. I worked every freaking station. I worked doubles every day. I learned how to cook on open fire there because he had a wood fire oven there, and I learned veal chops and everything had to cook in there.
Totally different way of cooking, by the way, right? It's crazy. You put you put a very well seasoned, trained chef who hasn't worked in one of those ovens. We're lucky enough to have one in my town in Ridgewood. It's called Sant'Egidio, and I went in there with this guy, and he threw a ribeye on the deck at like 1200 degrees. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense what he did. There's no way I would have been able to fucking navigate that. Yeah.
That's what it was.
That's great.
Yeah. So when I went back to school, man, I felt like a badass now because I was working for Waldy Maloof and I was crushing it. Went through CIA and, I graduated again, not too far after 9/11, but it was one of those times where you just, put your balls on the table and say, I'm going to do it. Me and my roommate from CIA, unbelievable chef. We said, we're moving into the city. That's it. We signed a lease and we had no money.
Right.
I signed a lease in Queens and we said, fuck it, we're going to do it. I applied to all the big dogs, right? Eric Roper was my number one, but John George was up there as well. And I got a call back to be a fish cook at Mercer Kitchen. And, a lot of people stem from Mercer Kitchen. People don't know, like David Chang came from there, like
100%. And I think they all went there and made nothing money wise.
Oh yeah.
It is that what John George does then? Like knows that he can have slave labor. I don't mean to denigrate the gentleman, but he knows he can get you just because what that means to your resume.
Yeah.
Popping that on is going to make you money going down the line, right?
Large, actually, I went to go see my pops and there was a check that I saved from there. And this was the days of shift pay.
Okay.
You got paid by the shift, which was illegal. So you got paid for 37 and a half hours because you took a half-hour break every day. But, the chef told me, who I'm friends with to this day, it was like, hey, the job has to get done. So if you can come in 7.5 hours, get the job done, fine, or you can't have the job or come in as long as you want, AKA you're going to be here.
Yes.
So I got the job. My check after taxes for what I probably worked was 70 hours, something like that. But you got paid 37 and a half at $9 an hour. My check was like $280.
Right.
But you know what? Years later, I think, something happened with the labor department and whatever and chef. And I got some information on it. I fucking threw it away. You know why? Because I worked for a little bit of money.
Right.
That experience is priceless.
Right.
I'm headed, once I leave here, I'm kind of doing my way from Hampton City, Pops, and now I'm headed up to Rhode Island.
Right.
One of my mentors, his name is Cruz Golaire. He worked everywhere. At the time, he was a CDC for John George, but he worked Del Posto, and he was a chef at Lupa for a long time. We were young. I was 20, 21 maybe, and Cruz was the executive sous chef, and he taught me so much. And I was still a crazy guy at this age. Everybody was crazy at this time at being a line cook, and I worked for hours, 12-hour shifts, doubles, whatever it is. not only cooking, the experience. I remember one night, and I mean, at the time I'm a kid, but I see this like entourage coming off the elevators, right? All big bodyguards around. Who's this? They're like, oh, that's Elton John. I'm like, Elton John. Oh, cool. And then next one comes out. They're like, and I'm not, for an Italian, I'm not a soccer guy. Who's that? That's David Beckham. Who the fuck's David Beckham? He's married to a Spice Girl. I said, oh shit, cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is Submerser was going. This was like the heyday of like.
Yeah, if Beckham and fucking Elton John are coming in back to back, it's
man.
this
was it. So I learned how to cook. From there, I couldn't afford anything, so I went to the Four Seasons in New York. Again, I went there because the chef was the highest placing at the time. 1997, he placed 7th in Bocuse d'Or. And I knew that I'd make good money, I'd get benefits, and the Four Seasons was a great company. They had 3 stars in the New York Times in the restaurants, and I was a chef tournant. I worked throughout the hotel, learned a shit ton, man. I spent 3 years in this level of a hotel. I not only learned more cooking, but hospitality.
Okay.
Four Seasons does it well, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're one of the best in the world to do it. So you start off in your dad's pizzeria for all intents and purposes. You go to school, and then you come out, you are slave labor, but it's integral to the rest of your career. Then you go to a place which then provides you with the opportunity to pay your bills.
Yep.
And maybe get some antibiotics for an ear infection, right? Which is a nice thing to have, right?
Yeah, I get it.
So now that you have all this shit on your resume, all these arrows in your quiver, what do you do next?
Again, that itch I had.
Yeah.
I had a great job and making decent money for the time. I was like, I gotta go.
Right.
You know, there are people to this day who are friends of mine, stayed with the Four Seasons for the whole time.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be surprised. It's probably a great place to work. Yeah.
Great place, you know, but thick-headed Italian, you know, we never stop. So from there, I applied for my first sous chef position. And the chef was a real crazy person, man.
Oh, really?
It was over in Chelsea at the Biltmore Room. 3 stars across the board. This is before Michelin.
Yeah.
3 stars, New York Times, you name it.
Yeah.
Right. And we were doing like 250 covers a night. Tasting menus, 7 course, 11 course out of large. I shit you not, dude. I guess it was an old gay club in Chelsea before.
Right.
And it had like this like weird dungeon area. They dug it out, and that was the kitchen and the bathrooms.
Oh, cool. So you were working in like a sex dungeon.
Yes.
Yeah, good for you.
I mean, dude, at one point we put like an outdoor thermometer on the wall, 110 degrees some nights in the kitchen.
Oof.
Dude, and I was working with some real line jockeys, man. These guys were good.
Really?
And the chef, crazy guy, man. He is known throughout the industry. He's a brilliant chef, and I learned a lot, but he was a whack job. His name was Gary Robbins. And he took me in, and Gary was a ground up guy. And he goes, I want a CIA guy. I need some structure in this kitchen. You know why? Because everybody's fucking doing blow.
Right.
It's all fucked up. You had gringos, and then you had like the real like Mexican line jockeys that were just badass, man.
Right.
And all the gringos want to be rock stars. So they're doing blow.
Where's your tattoos?
No tattoos, man.
You don't have the butcher knife on your pointer finger like everybody else?
If I came home with that back in the day, forget it. My dad would have killed me. Yeah. So I actually aligned with like the Mexican dudes because I never, believe it or not, I never did drugs my whole career, my whole life.
Good
never tried cocaine, nothing. So I aligned with those guys, man. And, I was my first sous chef position, and, I covered the lines, but I remember some of those nights, man. Gary, the chef, would come in and, whatever was influencing him that night.
Right.
Dude, the line was we're talking a 3-star tasting menus going out. Dude, he'd be fucking drooling and shit. And I'm like, fuck, dude. The cooks would be like, take over the pass. Dude, I'm like 25, you know? Gary would say, you do this, and just fucking knock the tickets and walk out.
So the pass then would be what we would traditionally see in the movies, where the guys are kind of up front,
finishing the food,
staging everything. Yeah.
And expediting the line.
Right.
And this is old school, man.
I need 2 lamb fired, that type of shit.
I mean, that's what, soon as
start trying to set the table.
As soon as the chef would walk off, you got to fire all the courses. And it's old school because it's a tasting menu. They're all tickets. You got to time it out really up here because if you wait for the server, they're not getting their food. So the chef would walk out and then it starts. Fire, table, fire, guys, order fire, order fire. It starts, right? But I learned there, man. I not only learned how to cook, but I learned how to run a fucking crazy kitchen like that. I mean, large, because it was dug out. The sewage pitch was off. 3-star restaurant in New York. New York Times at the time was like the pinnacle, right? Yeah. 3 out of 4 stars. Fucking sewage would be coming up out of the drains.
Jesus.
Because the pitch was off.
Yeah. So it's a dugout fucking
dude.
Yeah.
You want to talk about a freaking nightmare. Oh my God. Sewage start coming up. You're like, oh my God, this is crazy. What are we going to do here? But that job, man, really turned I learned how to be a badass there because I was put in a lot of crazy situations. The chef disappeared, I remember, for like a week. And the owners were young guys too. The chef didn't serve any beef in the restaurant. He said, beef is boring and there will never be beef served in my restaurant. Only people who don't know how to cook use beef.
Really?
Yep. So one of the owner's friends was having a birthday and he ordered a dry aged strip. The party never happened, right? So now the chef disappeared. You can't even make this up. I walk in to the 3 overnight dishwashers completely annihilated, drunk with beer bottles and shit all over the floor. They broke into the cooler upstairs, got wrecked. The place wasn't clean. The chef disappeared. He didn't place any of the orders. We had a pastry chef from Marseille, Philippe, awesome guy, man. I wonder where he is these days. He comes in, the dishwasher's like trying to fight me because I'm like, what the fuck you guys doing? You got to clean the place. Let's go. They're wrecked. I'm like, all right, get out of the restaurant, you know? Felipe comes in. Oh, Michael, fucking disaster, huh? You know where Gary is? I'm like, I don't fucking know where Gary is, man. Went to Whole Foods. Owners came in. I'm like, I need cash. Dude, I'm going to Whole Foods. I'm asking them for if they had a lamb saddle, anything. I'm getting quail, right? Come back. I'm like, oh my God. So the owners, he's gone for a couple of days. The beef was growing mold now because it came from the dry ager now in the moist walk-in box and gross and whatever. The owner said, do me a favor, can you sell that fucking beef? One of the cooks who was probably loyal to the chef called the chef. Don't know where the chef was. That day when the owner said, so I take the beef out. I am like, I gotta trim this thing and whatever. The chef calls the restaurant. Let me talk to him. Haven't heard from him. Nobody knows where he is. Went off on a whatever, Bender. Right?
Yeah.
Hey, chef, you served that beef. You're fucking fired. Yeah, chef. Hung up on me.
Yeah.
Come out. I fucking threw the beef in the garbage.
Oh, did
Owner said, what are you doing? I said, dude, this crazy guy just called me. Somebody fucking told him the beef was out. He said, if I serve the beef, I'm fired.
That's a fucking wild thing.
Oh, dude, wild. I mean, I remember it was a big party.
Right.
I was dating this host, this South African chick. I mean, I'm a young guy, dude, and now exposed to this New York City kind of like chef life.
Yeah.
And her brother was the bar manager. I mean, the restaurant failed, but not because the food wasn't brilliant. The food was brilliant. Some of the guests that were there that knew us, they would stay. Large, we'd fucking wipe the bar out until 3:30 in the morning, something like that. Then I was just walking there. I passed by the Molly Wee's, the pub.
Yeah,
there.
Molly Wee pub.
Dude. Then we would go to Molly Wee's.
Right.
Oh, forget it, dude. People be fucking in the Molly Wee's, be fucking in the bathroom downstairs at the Biltmore Room.
So there is a rock star lifestyle
this time
with this point. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there is now, but I don't get involved in it anymore. It's too many lawsuits anyways, right?
Right.
But I mean, I'll tell you, man, the Molly Wee, they would open up the shades at 6 a.m. And me and my South African girlfriend be like, we gonna fucking take the train back to Brooklyn, to my house. We would get on the fucking train, go back to Brooklyn, sleep for a few hours, get back on the train, come back out and do it all over again.
Do it all over, yeah.
She would she was like kind of the maitre d', dude. And it was like an edgy restaurant. So we had this hot, young South African maitre d', outside.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But I learned a lot there. A lot, man. I mean, incredible.
And then is that when you say, all right, now I'm doing my own? Or do you have to put in more time?
No, I put in a lot more time. I went to go work for a bigger company that had all sorts of different styles of restaurants. I mean, it's changed hands so many times. It was Patina Restaurant Group when I joined.
Uh-huh.
Nick Valenti, brilliant man. He was a busser at Restaurant Associates in the 60s.
Okay.
Ended up owning the whole thing. And I shit you not, man. He bought and sold that company that changed names a few times. I mean, he sold it to like Compass Group, Sodexo. Sold it a million times and he'd buy it back. Sell it high, buy it low. Sell it high,
Really?
buy it low. The guy was from a busboy. So he owned Petita Restaurant Group at the time, and they had the West Coast and the East Coast. And I worked at a brasserie in Midtown for him. And the chef, great guy. He was Italian and French.
Yeah.
And I was a young dude and with killer experience. I mean, hot experience. Everywhere on my resume was super hot. And he was, a little bit older. And he was like, you come in. At the time, it was like a $14 million restaurant. Back in the day, it was big money.
Yeah.
And he was like, you bring kind of like, the newer flair, because modern French was kind of my thing at that time. And I'll teach you how to run a restaurant, and then I walked into her and actually learned how to run a restaurant. And I'll tell you, expediting there, it was one of the power lunch places.
Do you wish you did better in school? Do you wish you paid more attention in school to the X's and O's? Because when you do all of a sudden say, hey, listen, I'm at where I need to be culinarily as far as my skills are. Now I'm going to open up a restaurant and I got more fucking spreadsheets than an account in front of me. Maybe I should have paid a little fucking attention, right? Because there is a little bit of scholasticness
100%.
involved in owning
100%.
anything, particularly just trying to expedite whatever the fuck you need to do, particularly in this city.
Yeah.
Which is awful from what I hear from most restaurant owners. Is it one of those things where, maybe you should have spent a little more time in math class?
If you didn't grow up in an old school family that was so like this, absolutely. Because I mean, conservative household with everything, money, this, that, I shit you not. One of those things, I think when you turn 30, so years ago for me, you get the Social Security thing when you first got a W-2. I was 11 years old. I had a paper out. I was on the books at 11.
Right. I was on the books at 12.
I worked all the way through,
me too,
right?
yeah.
But I had my own credit card. I had to do it all myself. And my dad would always, he was like, look, come on, we're going to balance the checkbook.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a fucking kid.
Okay. So the
Balancing
practical
checkbook.
stuff. Right.
Yeah. You don't waste things.
Right.
This sort of like you grew up in it.
Right. And that's not taught enough in school either.
No.
There's so much bullshit that I forgot the day I stepped out of
I mean, when you
college.
use an algebra,
Yeah, exactly.
So luckily I had that mindset, right? Conservative mindset with money. And, it's something I carried through with me, and also a pride of something. When I was 15, 16, me and my friends pumped gas. And I shit you not, I would pump the gas, wash the windshield, check the oil, do the whole thing. Not only because I had pride and that's what I did,
right?
But I'm like, if I give these guys a good experience, they're going to pay me for it.
Yes.
So a lot of people don't think like that.
Do you find, how old are you right now?
44.
So you're 44. So I'm just about 10 years older than you, in and around. Do you find that now versus, let's go 20 years ago, that service across the board has gotten worse? Do you find that in this, and this isn't anything that even resembles being political by any stretch of the imagination. I just mean in general. Have I gotten more picky with what I want out of a restaurant, or have restaurants become more stingy on what they give me? That used to be, we'd go to like Sam's on Court Street as a kid, and I really did feel like they opened up the fucking doors for us. And that would make up for any inconsistencies in the food. Not that 8-year-old me was like, hey, this is a little tough. Nothing like that. But I just don't find that as often as I used to. And now when I do find it, I smother the place.
Of course. I always say a gracious experience from a restaurant makes the food taste better.
Yeah.
A bad experience makes any food taste bad.
Yeah.
So yes, it's harder to make money in the industry these days, no doubt, for many reasons, right? Back in the day, I mean, people owned buildings and stuff like that. Now it's almost impossible. Margins, labor, you name it. There's a million things. The inflation with food hasn't matched what people are willing to pay for it, right? And rightfully so, as the guest, you have the right, because you're paying a lot of money these days.
It still is steep.
Yeah, you're paying a lot of money these days, so you should have a great experience. But in general, though, and even at CIA and all this sort of stuff, math class and restaurant math life are two different things.
Okay.
Right. And I feel like if you had a true business degree, it'll help you, because really you're running a business. And when you look at a restaurant P&L, holy shit, dude, especially now, like on modern software, right? Something like Compete or something like that. Not only do you have hundreds of lines, then you click it and hundreds of lines open.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable, right? So now, especially chefs, right? You're buying everything, from the chemical to the dry good to this, to that, everything. You get a chef, and I've been in this situation, man. I've had, back in the day at a deli, one of our investors, very, very wealthy, powerful guy, man. We'd be in the office with his CFO, and he'd be yelling at the CFO on what was this on the P&L. CFO has no fucking clue.
Right.
And he used to tell him, the guy's name was Artie. Artie, I don't know, Artie. Why? What are you, stupid? And I would say, Artie, that if you click this, it goes to that. And then what are we paying? Like, dude, it's another world.
Really?
Right? Yeah, it is. So
it intimidates me, because even the little bullshit stuff that I do online, like a sandwich of the month, or I go around and I'll do these little, reviews. They're all positives. Anything that I shoot that's negative, I then shit can. I can talk negatively about restaurant experiences on this podcast, because I also don't want people going to terrible places, but I don't really want to put out there something that may hurt somebody's ability to do business.
Yeah.
Right. But even from that little bullshit universe that I swim in, people are like, you should open up a restaurant, just a sandwich spot. And then you have in the back of your head, yeah, like maybe you would just have 4 or 5 sandwiches that I do very well, one rotating, maybe I'll learn to play mandolin. I'll have my wife cutting cheese with a piano wire. You'll be pickling fucking vegetables in the back. We'll just have a good time, right? Yeah. Like my daughter will be slave labor stomping the grapes, right? We'll be doing the homemade bread, all that stuff. It just sounds kind of romantic to me.
Yeah.
But the nuts and bolts about it is I believe it's an impossibility for me at this point in my life, because I would kill everybody involved, including my daughter stomping on the grapes.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like a Herculean task. So if people are wondering why I sort of have guys like you on, and I ask about the process from, birth to school to this, to, putting your first shingle up, it fascinates me. And it's one that I think I have the desire. I don't have the skill set to do.
Yeah. It's cool. And again, like the playing field changed.
Yeah.
I was helping my dad clean up the basement a little bit, and he had some really cool stuff from his restaurant.
Oh, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were looking at the books. He was a young guy, right? Left school and basically middle school in Italy, traveled here on a freaking boat.
Mm-hmm.
Became a dishwasher in a distant family friend's place.
Right.
Then they said, do you want to go to school or do you want to cook? He said, cook. Then 4 years later, he opened a restaurant. And I was
extraordinary.
You were profitable. We're looking at the books. I'm like, you're profitable. You made money. Man, not too much money. He said, Dad, people open restaurants with every tool imaginable, with all kinds of experience, and they lose money.
Right.
And you were this kid from Italy, and you made money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to see.
That's pretty admirable too.
Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah.
But going into a larger restaurant group, it taught me a lot. It did. And it also made me really well-rounded, not only as a chef, but as a business person.
Okay.
So, I did the 3 years at Patina. I learned a lot there. And then I had my first opportunity to be an executive chef in 2007 at Fresh in Tribeca.
Okay. Fine
dining seafood. At the time, 2 stars in the New York Times. And I'm like, this is it, man. I'm not a big, guy with the signs and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm a Pisces, but I love the water. I love cooking fish, man. I'm like, this fish, we were writing the menu daily. This is when fish prices you can get the best and you can still make money on it. I shit you not. I was ordering from Honolulu seafood every other day. They would overnight it. I would order it at the end of the night. 24 hours later, it would come in the next night. Unbelievable. Wow. The most beautiful stuff. So I remember I take that on. I'm 27 years old. And Frank Bruni, again, at this time, the New York Times was king. It was the year before was the inaugural year of Michelin.
Okay.
But still, the New York Times reigned supreme at that time.
Yeah.
So Bruni came in and dined with us.
Did you know he was coming in?
Nope.
Because that's one of those things too. Like you even see it in The Bear. You see it in, that one. Why can't I think of the name of the one with Bradley Cooper? Where the Michelin.
Burnt, maybe
Burnt. Yeah, something like that. And it was sort of like he comes in, he orders this. He does there was so much intrigue and espionage about that. Did you guys have that back in the day too? I mean, Bruni obviously was a huge character and everyone knew what he looked like. But
we had the photos.
Okay.
Right. We had the photos. And this is one where the chef gets pissed off at the manager because they got their head up their ass and, who knows what they're doing instead of saying, hey, Bruni's in the dining room. Uh-huh. So towards the end of the meal, I saw him and it was the first dine for him. So I said, here we go, dude. Large. I'm telling you, man. I was like, I'm going to get New York 3 stars in the New York Times.
Right.
Like I remember Guyot, who was an old like food blog or something like that, wrote a little article and they called Fresh the baby La Bernardin of Tribeca. Dude, I fucking melted.
Great. Yeah.
So the first dine with Bruni, I told the guy, what a crew I had there. I walked into an amazing crew. The chefs before me trained these guys and it was an amazing crew.
Oh, that's Fresh. Yeah.
Yeah. And I shit you not, man, just like a week or so later, something like that, stock market crash of 2008.
Look at you. You're a fucking anti-rabbit's foot, huh?
Dude.
Holy shit. That's
it always works out.
Correction.
Though, thankfully.
Yeah.
You know what I think it is? I was not on the path for my purpose.
Okay. Yeah. Getting a little bit there.
Yeah.
I hear.
God said this, you want this three stars, but it's not your purpose.
Right.
So, fuck, place crash. Boom, done.
Right.
I remember we made a cake, me and the pastry chef there for this. I don't know what they were, hundreds of millionaire person, whatever. I mean, somebody who came in, older woman, dropped big bucks.
Right.
And they were going to pick up the cake. We were going to charge them a ridiculous amount of money for it. And the next day we get there, she calls to cancel the party. I talked to her. I mean, I'm a young chef, and she says, Chef, we can't make it tonight. But I would still like to, pay you. She's crying. I'll still pay you for the cake. I'll pick up the cake. I said, come pick up the cake. Comes with a driver, typical, right? And Tribeca comes with a driver and whatever the hell is it, rolls or whatever they're driving. She's crying, this lady, man. I bring the cake out to her. I said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And, we'll be back. I said, don't worry about it. Take the cake. Hung in there for a very short amount of time. The owners called me and said, we're sorry you left this, I was at safe path job and you came, but they're like, we just renovated the place. We just spent the money on you. We just did all this sort of stuff and we're going to sell it. And, they were good people, man. And I said, oh, fuck, dude, here we go. I'm broke again. And they're like, we're going to give you $10,000. You're a good person. Gave me 10 grand. All the cooks came to me and said, what are you going to do? We like working for you. I said, I don't fucking know. I start working with like the recruiters, headhunters and stuff like that. They said, dude, the fact of the matter is you're not air repair and you might have to get a little bit more casual and whatever. And now this is my dream, right? Everything I build up for. Now they're telling me it's not going to work out.
But was your dream to be like really high end cuisine? I know we're getting back to being something a little bit more like I'm talking about with the mandolin and the piano wire. But a young you who's now trained and has some sufficient stuff, you do want to be the top of the food chain as far as the Michelin stars. And then yes, and then at the time, like you want everything with your horseradish foam and stuff like that. You don't want to sit down and do.
I mean, I'm telling you, I was there all the time at the restaurant.
Right.
At Fresh, morning to night, writing menus for the next day. I was proofing the menus back then myself.
Right.
But this 3 stars, or even if you held the 2 stars, we ended up getting a Michelin recommendation, which was major in an inaugural year. I still have the little Statue of Liberty.
Oh, that's cool.
It's plastic thing, but still, right? Yeah. People look at piece of shit. I'm like, that's 2006 inaugural recommendation, I mean, we used to watch Bocuse d'Or, old tapes of them in CIA dorm room. Charlie Trotter had VHS sets called Kitchen Sessions with Charlie Trotter, 6-pack VHSs. Dude, this is what my roommate and I watched. Old school Japanese Iron Chef.
Oh, this is what Suburo Machiba, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, Masahiro Morimoto, Hiroyuki Sakai, those old school ones, man. Wow, I came up with those 3 names.
You did?
The fucking jump.
Sakai.
Yeah, Hiroyuki Sakai, I believe was the guy.
He was.
Then there was Chen Kenichi.
Yes.
Was the other guy. So it was Chinese, French, Japanese, which was Matsuhiro Morimoto.
Yeah.
And man, that was like the Justin Wilson Cajun cook thing. This was way before you had what we have now with, you know,
Large, I remember the first time they had Americans on the show, man.
really.
Yeah. What was it? I think it was Rick Tremano.
Okay, came over and did Iron Chef.
He did the original Iron Chef.
Listen, if you guys know what Iron Chef is now, we're actually going to talk a little bit about Iron Chef because you competed on it.
Yeah, I did. The American one.
Listen, I get fascinated with a lot of the stuff, right, with him, and I live vicariously through a lot of my chef and restaurant owner friends. But this hits me in the aorta because the original Iron Chef was addicting to me.
Oh yeah.
You know, like so much where, you know, my girlfriend at the time, wife now, was like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I got an idea. Why don't you shut the fuck up while Hiroyuki Sakai is, you know what I mean? Like, and she's like, oh, it's that stupid stuff that, and I've never used it, right? Except to talk to you about it. I haven't mentioned Raksubaro Machiba since I fucking saw
But
him.
it's like, it comes right back to you, man.
Splitting a sea urchin or some
it's
bullshit.
like an episode of the A-Team. You're like, yeah, then this happened.
And that's my sport. And I still have a little bit of a sporting background. Obviously, I cover NASCAR, the boxing, and I went to a big sports school and all that kind of stuff. I have that. But as far as like a Chris Klemmer who works here and or a Frank the Tank who works here and they have that recall to somebody who threw a not so perfect game in 1989. I don't have any of that shit and I don't want it. But fuck, I can remember the original Iron Chef, like believe.
But I mean,
the chairman.
This is what we were watching, right? And especially Boku's Door. And America sucked at that time when I was watching Boku's Door. They were horrible. So yeah, I mean, up until about, I would say 27, 28, my vision was 3 stars in the New York Times. And then when Michelin came in to do that. And so comes crashing down. The guys at Fresh, I mean, we're talking servers, dishwashers, everybody's, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm a young guy. I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Right.
So this recruiter, old school guy, I used to reach out to him. Hey, I'm looking for a job. He would ignore me for years.
Right.
And then I got press. I was like this young trailblazer, you know, Eater wrote about me.
30 under 30, something like that.
Oh yeah. All this stuff started to come out. And he called me. He goes, hey, now you're ready to work. I'm ready to work with you. So he goes,
did you tell him go fuck himself, or is it one of those things where you need it?
No, I needed it big time.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, we're friends to this day. So he said, look, there's a restaurant that opened in Soho. It's called Delicatessen. It was the laughing stock of New York City. 0 stars across the board, all modelly or whatever. I said, dude, I'm fucking cooking to try to get 3 stars in the New York Times. You're talking about Delicatessen? He's like, just go check it out. He's like, it's a weird time right now. They're open for anything. And what came to be my partners, I said, look, either you guys were fucking brilliant or desperate. I'm going with desperate. They say brilliant. Rolling the dice on me. I came into this place. It was a fucking disaster.
Right.
0 stars, making big revenue, losing money. Everyone hated the restaurant. So I walked in and I met with these 2 guys. First of all, I walked in a corner of Prince Lafayette. You were there.
Yeah.
I said, wow, this restaurant's fucking beautiful. This restaurant is gorgeous. Yeah. Start to walk through, whatever.
I wasn't at the iteration before you, though, just, you know, so I have no historical perspective on that. I only know it from you on.
Yep. Which most people do.
Yeah.
11 years, you know? So I said, the restaurant's beautiful. But I said, dude, I don't really do this. They're like, what do you mean? And they actually convinced me. They said, what do you mean you're Italian? It was sophisticated comfort food, right? Well, that's what Italian food is. I said, yeah, but I don't cook this. I haven't cooked it. I go home and my parents cook and it just wasn't my thing, right? Oh no, like think about it. Like there has to be dishes and da 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 da. So they said we're gonna work to revamp this restaurant. We spent millions on it, and you know, let's do it. So I did a tasting, and then we hired as a publicist. You know, she's like one of the big old school ones, Jennifer Baum from Bullfrog and Baum. Okay, and they came in, and basically I did a tasting for her now. Whether she wanted to take us on as clients, because I mean, she at that time represented everyone, Bobby Flay, Pyard. I mean, you name it. She had all the big guys and knew this place was a disaster, but you know, she's like young guy, cool place, could have a different story. Good story.
Yeah.
Good story.
Yeah.
So I cooked for her. She said, I'm going to take you on.
Done. We're here. Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, it's sweet. She's like, great tasting. Congrats.
Yeah.
And she goes, but we can't talk about food yet. We have to make it a pitch of who you are and lifestyle, how you came here, and then we'll talk about food. Because everybody hated the place.
Right.
So that's what we started to do.
So
man.
start branding it as you, not as this place. That
Where I
didn't have
came
it.
from, what
Right.
I did. And I mean, dude, again, helping my dad, he's 84 now. So helping him clean up the house. I got file boxes of magazines, books, all this shit. And, my dad's an old school guy. He's not online looking at anything, whatever. He thought they were old magazines that like I saved because I wanted a recipe. I go, Dad, I'm in every single one of those.
Right.
He goes, what? I remember I pulled out, it was a Manhattan magazine. And I'm like, Manhattan magazine. It was top 100 most eligible bachelors.
Nice.
Dude, I was like 29 or 30 years old, right? Dude, you got Leonardo DiCaprio, Edward Norton.
And
I'm showing my dad
Ferraro.
this. And Michael Ferraro, man. My dad, dude, he's like, what? I said, Dad, literally, if you got some time, I said, open these things up and flip through them. That's what he's been doing, which is really nice.
That is cool.
But Jennifer came, we did this kind of campaign and all kinds of different press pieces, man.
Mm-hmm.
Cool shit too, where they're like, hey, you want to do this, piece on this or that? I'm like, yeah, cool. And then believe it or not, the first time I did TV, you're going to laugh. And this is a nice Guinea story. You'll love it.
Right.
So my cousin worked at the Greenwich Country Club.
Okay.
Okay.
Connected. Yep.
And now here I am. I'm like, 28, 29 years old. And my parents that don't know anything about John George or the Four Seasons or nothing like that.
Means nothing new.
To them, hey, man, Armando works at the Greenwich Country Club. I'm like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So my brother's like, Dad, like, Michael, like, have worked in like best hotels in the world and top chefs in the world. But it just didn't click because none of the old school people know anything about this kind of stuff, right? So I got an opportunity to do like it was season 2 of Chopped. And that wasn't even on my radar at the time. But I said, I'm going to fucking do the TV show. So finally, when my parents and all the old school people see it, I don't got to hear about the Greenwich Country Club anymore.
You made it.
I made it.
You made it. Yeah.
So I did the freaking show, man. And then that was it. Then,
can I ask you about that experience?
Yeah.
So Chopped is one of those ones that's a favorite of a lot of people. I personally don't like Chopped.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I don't like it is because when it comes to the judging part, like I love Alex Guarnaschelli. I think she's great. But for her to be like, I don't like the way you incorporated the cotton candy. I can't watch that with you gave him fucking cotton candy with a venison loin and some kumquats. You can't expect it to be a cohesive dish. That's why I kind of like the Beat Bobby Flay thing.
Yeah, I did. I used to judge on that.
Yeah. And I think it's kind of cool because if you even the playing field with fava beans, you guys go at it, and then you got to make my homemade maragot. Like I think that's fucking delicious.
You know one thing about that show, man? So I judged it maybe 5-6 times.
I've seen you on it. Yeah.
Bobby can fucking cook, man.
Somebody told me that because Bobby's easy to hate. I think he's one of those guys that he's very, very easy to be a fan of and to love, but he's also easy to root against because of his personality or his whatever he plays on TV. That's why Beat Bobby Flay is so good. You sometimes like these underdogs who have better personalities more than him. And even his friends who are the hosts, not the judges, are sort of like, we want to beat you, you scumbag. You know what I mean? Like, I think that is a very good from conception to whatever. I think that show does a lot better than Chopped for me. Like that's how I feel. But Chopped, open the basket, take it out. So you were one of the competitors for that.
So season 1 was the stupid shit. Jelly beans, this, that, whatever, right? So they told me season 2 is not going to be as much like that. A little bit, but not as much.
Okay.
And I was like, your like contenders suck too. So I did it. And now it's funny because like when I first started out, the eaters of the world loved me because I was this young trailblazer. As soon as I become the chef of Delicatessen, they hated me. They went through a phase of hating me.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't a popular restaurant, man. I mean, it was packed with models, very Soho-y. The food sucked when I came in. Like, everything sucked about it, and it wasn't popular. It wasn't a popular move. So we get get to the last round, and I was up against a sous chef that was like, I don't know, one of the good restaurant. I forgot what it was, man. But one of like top restaurants, he was the sous chef there. And I crushed the dessert round, and I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like 100% won this shit. But with the calamari, right? Dude, you're in it, you're going through it, whatever. I didn't take the cartilage out of one of the tubes.
Okay, yeah.
So one of the judges got a piece of cartilage on the plate, and it turned into this dramatized thing. And then also, like, again, it wasn't popular for like even the judges, which the judge that was on the show that day, him and I became, friends later.
Good friends, yeah.
But it wasn't popular to like Delicatessen. So they said we couldn't get over the cartilage. The next day on Eater, dude, I swear to God, they took the worst still frame photo of me there is and put it up that, chef from Delicatessen gets to the last round to chop. It gets chopped because of cartilage. And there's like a zoom in of the cartilage. I'm like, bro, This is crazy. But Jennifer Baum from Bullfarg and Baum said, you're good on camera. You want to do more of it? And I said, yeah, sure. And then my team leader, like the publicist that I went to every day, her name was Eliza. Amazing girl. I mean, we still talk shit to this day back and forth. Right. And she was amazing. And we had such a good relationship. I talked to her 50 times a day. And Large, I'll tell you, from once we came back and the food started to get good at Delicatessen and started to get, and another move that Jennifer was like, she's like, you can cook. You got to go cook with other people who can cook. I'm doing every food festival all over the world. I traveled the fucking world, man.
Right.
I mean, I filmed in Asia. I went to Russia and Colombia and Iceland. And, I'm cooking with some of the best people in the world, man. When I competed in Iceland 2 times, like, Renee from Noma was the judge in Iceland. Like,
yeah, that's, I don't know if it's a necessary evil because it takes you away from
coffee bag.
Your bag of coffee, because it takes you away from what you're trying to build, the Delicatessen. But it's certainly something that I think is exactly that, a necessary evil, just to get the name, to get the personality out there. And I see guys like Christian Petroni has really ramped up his online presence and stuff like that. He's one of the guys that I'd like to get on the show just because, you can't just anymore, maybe you can stay in the front of house, run a restaurant, and that's it. Yeah. Like you have to do all this other shit. You have to beat Bobby Flay, go on Chopped, be like this. So I'm glad that you did have somebody that could branch you out because it agreed with your personality. Because as a consumer of Food Network and food content, you popped up quite a bit.
Yeah.
For a good chunk of time, right? Yeah. Like I was seeing you quite a bit, which made me happy, obviously, because I had worked with you here at Barstool. Is it as easy to do now, or is it one of those things where you're like, I don't know if that's as necessary, like to kind of be on the Food Network tour, let's say? Yeah,
I would say if you're independent chef, restaurant owner, that sort of stuff, yes. So, I mean, look, the run at Delicatessen was 11 years. I was 27 when I walked in the door. Unbelievable. 4 years later, after the place is super successful and all stuff, I was going to leave and partner with some these guys, that own real estate. They own the most amount of buildings in New York City under $100 million.
Okay.
And in some spaces had restaurants in them. So they came to me and they said, hey, come and partner with us. We're going to start a restaurant collection only based on our real estate. We'll give you a percentage. So now I'm like, I'm going to do this. So I go to the owners and I say, hey, I'm going to go, but I'm worried you guys will fuck this up again. I chose my own replacement.
Okay.
I said, I'm going to hire my replacement, somebody who I know and trust. I'm going to try to get him. And then I started that process. And some friends, I said, dude, this is a great platform in this place and I don't want it to get fucked up. So take it. So they came back to me and they said, don't leave. We know you love this place. You are Prince of Lafayette. You are this restaurant. They said, we'll make you a minority partner. So that's how I became a partner at Delicatessen and in Mac Bar.
Mac Bar, which was the one that kind of specialized in
the mac and cheese
mac and cheeses.
Yep.
Yeah.
The yellow
which I remember.
ladle container.
Yeah.
And
And that's a good time to inject on where we had met. When Willie and I were doing Beats and Eats, we had this great concept that paired me being in the kitchen with either chef or chef owner or whatever, while Willie was out there with a musical person, somebody who is either a performer. I think we had Angie Martinez, who was like this legendary New York DJ, all these kind of people. And the show all tested very well. Everything was great. But that was right around the time where you started to get those, I think they're called DCAs, where you were not using licensed music.
Yeah.
And so as soon as we launched this thing, within a month, Barstool and every other place like Barstool were starting to get lawsuits against them for using unlicensed music. Never was a problem before. You could put any song on any tweet on anything. And now I have people coming after me for even like personal TikToks if I have a song on.
Wow.
Like it's gotten to that point. And we're at the forefront of when this became. So as a result, we weren't able to put it on any kind of platforms. So that killed it. And then we were just going to do maybe just an eats part of it at some point. Then Willie had moved on. I still speak to Willie quite often. I love that fucking guy.
Oh man. Yeah. You know, and through that like kind of campaign of getting me out there in the restaurant is where I met Willie.
Yeah.
We met at Taste of Hope with the NFL.
Okay. Yeah.
And there was a chef and a football player from the Jets. And it was Willie. And we're just shooting the shit. I'm like, yo, this fucking guy's cool as shit.
Greatest.
And you know, I said to him, look, let's go out. Let's get drinks. Here's the restaurant, blah, blah, blah. And he took me up on it. Yeah. And he said, yo, chef, I'm in Soho. And I remember me and him he came in, we're drinking we're drinking at Deli. And I said, you want to go out? And he's like, yeah, let's go out. So we went from Deli to La Esquina, went downstairs at La Esquina. And then I bet you Willie will remember, man, but I was going out back then so much. Then we went to a club. I think we might have went to Marquee. And
if you're a guy who's my age or a little bit younger, you know all these spots. So he's hitting all the touch points. For us.
Yeah, the hot spot. We went out and kicked it, and we just became friends, man. And here and there, things that, you know, you guys were doing or whatever. Yeah. Willie always thought about me, man. Dope guy. Yeah, he's a great guy, man.
So Willie goes into the dining room because we're at Delicatessen. I believe we had Margot Bingham with us at the time. And Margot she was in Boardwalk Empire.
Right.
The voice of a fucking angel. I don't know what she's doing now. First of all, beautiful young lady. Stunningly beautiful. So Willie's out there with her. Yep. And I'm in here with this fucking idiot, the downstairs kitchen with this guy. And it was a pleasure, obviously, to let us into the kitchen. And I remember it very, very vividly because I had never worked. And so my background with cooking is bullshit compared to yours. But obviously, I've been in a couple of kitchens and done all that kind of stuff. I've never worked with foie. Certainly never worked with a loin of foie or anything like that. And so I had you like teach me, I believe maybe the capillaries that run through the loin run east, west, or north, south. So you're going against them or else you're going to be essentially flossing. Like stuff that would have been very, very off-putting if you don't have that little experience that I got in 5 minutes with you on there. So we're searing that off with some sort of toast points and some sort of preserves that you had.
Maybe it was figs at the time.
Might have been figs. And so it had this, you know, for people who've worked with foie, it does melt. So it had that elevated peanut butter and jelly type thing to it. And I'm telling you, the dish stays with me. That's one of the dishes that stays with me. We go upstairs, we have it with the people who didn't have to get dirty, Willie and Margot. And then she sang and serenaded me. I know there were other people there, but I believe she was just speaking to me because she was sexually attracted to me, obviously. No, so Margot's singing for the group, but she had that voice that really resonated with each individual person. And I was like, I can do this for the rest of my life. Yeah. I can go downstairs with somebody like you, cook, come upstairs with somebody like Margot, listen, and then go home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and go to sleep. And like the show should have been huge, right? It was just the timing of it. But that's where we met. Yeah. Correct? Like that's the way that we had met. Would you say like your training, where are you the strongest as a chef cuisine wise? What would you say is your go-to? Obviously you grew up in an Italian household, so I could see that. But is there something that
contemporary American, modern French, like that? Okay. That my heart was there as a younger guy, like when I was at Fresh. And some of the meals I love to cook most, dude, is over a fucking open fire and doing crazy shit in wood ovens and crazy shit like that. The casual side of it. And dude, I love, there was a part when you cook on a high level, you almost thought people were pretending to understand what you're serving or doing, and pretending to love it so much because everybody else around them loved it so much.
Yeah.
So I don't want to look like the dope who doesn't know fine food. So I'm going to love it too. Right.
Right.
Not too many people who don't know food that says that kind of fucking sucked. That $1,000 meal sucked. What I really love, and this is Italian food at its core, is making incredible food with ingredients that people know and things and flavors that people know, that they can truly say, that was fucking amazing.
Right.
Or I had a better pasta in Brooklyn or whatever. Right.
Yes.
But truly bringing that nostalgic, happy feeling to someone. So somehow me and Dan, we both said, fuck it. I think we should do this. So
what's the timeline?
Given that I just officially ended at the corporate company on July 1st, and then have been out east here.
But can you take off for a year? Can you take off for 2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe. I mean, bored.
The development of it is technically while you're off, right?
For sure.
So it's one of those things.
And I got the arsenal, right? I mean, it's kind of a proven thing. I mean, we're talking, it's not going to be, my food. I own hundreds of cookbooks, and people say, where you get ideas and recipes from? I actually used to always read cookbooks. And this is the crazy kind of mind of a chef too, that I would look at people as a motivator to be like, this motherfucker came up with this and I never thought of that. I need to think harder.
Right.
I need to fucking think harder. And you have chefs that have inspirations from great chefs and all sort of stuff. A lot of my cooking through the years, man, has been trying to push the bar of things. So I think there'll probably be a creative element to it, of the Italian, spectrum.
Yeah.
But there will also be just the shit that I fucking absolutely love. And when I cook for friends and family or whoever it is, that they fucking absolutely love it as well. So I'm going to take some time. I mean, just spend a couple weeks out east. I'm going to go see Pops for a little while. I'm going to go to the south of France for a little while.
Obviously.
And I'm going to come back and,
will Ian and I be able to get a free meal at this place once it opens up? I know Ian's not here today, but is that, and when I mean free, I mean leave the wallet in the fucking hotel free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Large.
Good.
First of all, you know how New Yorkers do it.
I know.
It's funny enough that dude, I rarely paid for a meal in New York City, and every chef, whether profitable or not, it's, dude, get the fuck out of here. And it's funny that now when I almost 5 years out of New York City.
Yeah.
And I see our comp numbers, right? Multi-million dollar company. I'm looking at comp numbers and whatever. And I start to analyze and I'm like, these aren't real comps. These are like staff meal, discounted, whatever. People don't comp like that out, the old school New York.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I was just in the Hamptons, right? My good friend, Julian Medina, fucking brilliant chef, man. Such a good cook. Very good friends for years. He opened on a beautiful corner in Southampton. El Verano is the name of the Verano. Yeah. Is the name of the place. So I said, I was staying with a bunch of friends and whatever. There was a bunch of kids running around the house. So one of the nights, this girl I know out there said, hey, how about we, go out to dinner tonight? I'll pick you up. We're going to go out in Southampton. All right, cool. Pick her up, come in, dude, it's busy. Julian comes out, t-shirt, apron, backwards hat, pulls up a chair to the table. Now we're in Southampton. You got every fancy person in the world. Fuck, dude, he got his apron on. We start drinking, talking, then we get into the meal, whatever. And I said, dude, this is the shit that I miss. What you're doing right now.
Yeah.
I used to do it every fucking night, dude. You go out.
By the way, there's a balance with that. And I can tell you right now, as much as I love interacting with people in the restaurant, there is a balance. And I like to not make myself at home, but I like to get myself into a situation where I feel at home in a lot of restaurants. It can be, annoying sometimes.
For sure.
Right? Like, you seeing your old friend who owns El Verano and coming over and doing a bunch of drinks while you're with her and stuff like that. But there is, like, as much as I love it, sometimes I'm like, got it, I'm eating. Get the fuck out of here. Like, without being that rude or being, whatever it is. It's just, I find like some people play it well and some people don't know when to get the fuck out.
For sure. And I think that the chefs, again, I mean, chefs read things in a different way, man. Like, I see with front of the house management too. You'd be like, look, you got VVIP coming in. I want you to do this, right? These are the three things you're going to do for them. And then the overcompensation comes in.
Right.
If I fucking blow this person more, they're going to love it more and tell them that I love it more. We're not, nah, dude, you fucking read the room. This is something that New York does really well. But yeah, we caught up. It's a new place. He just, opened. I think he's in his second season or something like that. Right. Okay. And he's like, dude, I got to run the dinner. I said, yeah, dude, no, whatever, So we're eating, we're drinking, whatever. Like, just like the old school way. Right. I'm like, give me the check. No check. I said, dude, you just opened the fucking plate. Server. I said, get the manager. You guys just opened. I want to pay. Julian says absolutely not. And of course, you take care of the server really well and all that sort of stuff. But dude, that is like, it's another one of those things as we talk.
I guess
through,
I will bring my wallet to take care of the server.
The server.
That's it. All right. Just so you know.
And the server.
I won't bring my wallet. I'll keep a couple.
A little cash.
Yeah. Like Frank Sinatra
style,
used to fucking, put in the top coat right here.
Well, the servers love that, right? Because you figure you're like, I gotta tip the server, 50 some percent, high number.
I love getting a $500 free meal and giving $700 to the server.
Amazing,
like
right?
it makes me feel better, even though it's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's
and
one
it
of those
made
things.
their night, dude. You got one table, you picked up $250. And it was a chill table that everything's perfect. You don't have to worry about the person because they're not going to fucking say, oh, you didn't do this or do that. Right. So, and funny enough, dude, Julian and I been texting and stuff. And I said, dude, there's a void of quality Mexican in Orlando this morning. And he's like, he opened up he's in Doral, down by Miami. I said, bro, I think it's fucking time. Because before I left New York, he has the place in Soho. And he came to me and he's like, dude, you are Mr. Soho. Like, that's worth something.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, you want to come and do something with me in the Soho spot? I mean, right on Thompson Street, right on Thompson and Houston. And we were talking about it because it just made sense. We're good friends. We've cooked together for so long, a gazillion charities together. We work really well with one another. So I texted him this morning. I said, dude, I'm going to call you. I said, and we should think about doing something as well. And Mexican's another one I fucking love, dude. Good Mexicans, unbelievable.
We just got back from Mexico City 2 weeks ago.
Man, where'd you eat any? So
I tell you what, I had ripped apart the mother mole at Puyo. I did not enjoy that.
Everybody always says that they've dropped way down on the,
I did like everything else they put on the plate.
Yeah.
With the exception of the chocolate tamal as the dessert, I thought just didn't work, but they had this ice cream on top of it. It was fucking fantastic. But the mole, I couldn't get past.
So when I was there.
We also ate an animal. We also ate at a bunch of places. We stayed in the same Regis. I'm dropping names here. But it was for a NASCAR event. Mm-hmm. And so they had like Atarantados at the track. They had all this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, on my third day there, I got it. And then
Montezuma's revenge.
I was bad. I mean, I did a whole episode on it, so I won't go over it. But I'm telling you right now, I for a good day, I could have bent over and shit through a keyhole very easily. Mine was the only bathroom that had a shower head next to the.
Oh, beautiful!
Thank God. And I'm there. I was like insulted. I asked everybody else. Nobody else had that, and it wasn't like
dude.
A bidet.
I grew up with them. A bidet.
This wasn't a bidet. This thing would fucking take the fucking hemorrhoid right off you if you were to do it. I was actually using it just to like spray down the walls at the end of the fucking thing. Mike, I'm telling you, it was bad. So wow. I'm on a hiatus right now.
Yeah.
For Mexican, just for a couple because I'm a little bit gun shy.
Yeah.
And I think it was the ice cubes. Because like the whole thing, it had to have been something like that. But so Mexican in Soho, but in Orlando.
No, but this was years ago when we talked about possibly doing something.
Yep.
So again, even just me seeing him out in Southampton, and we were just shooting the shit. And I texted him. I said, dude, I mean, he's up to his 10th location now. So I said, look, man, I said, we should do something. And so I think the projects that, Dan and I, my my buddy's, my best friend's cousin that is now, my new best friend. We're looking, into the realm of Italy. And I mean, dude, we're talking either like just a simple pasta place to a pizzeria. And when the time comes for the pizza, man, you got to put in a word in for Prez to come
I know
down.
a guy. Yeah.
You know a guy. But, I was saying before, so when I was a kid, my mom had a delicatessen, Lillian's Gourmet Deli. How ironic that my restaurant years later is called Delicatessen.
Yeah.
My dad, pizza guy. My dad was a pizza guy.
Yeah.
So, it's so weird, man, how it just
kind of comes around full circle.
Dude, I mean, this weekend, at my buddy's house, we're outside, dude. We fucking made 18 pies. I mean, look, the most beautiful setting. I don't think if I open a pizzeria, nice. It's going to be quite like that. But, dude, I'm teaching my buddy to stretch pies. We're playing around, whatever. Teach him how to use the new oven outside. 18 pies. And, dude, he goes, and, my buddy's a big businessman, whatever. And he's like, this is fucking fun. Yeah. I go, it is fun, dude. But I said, you also have to enjoy the part with it when you're so deeply in the shits and then you can get out of the shits and then that's still fun to you. And if you stay in the shits, it's not fun.
I don't mean to make it out to be more heroic than it is, right? Because I know there are a lot of people who put their bodies in the way of harm every day, but there is something to be said about having your life savings pumped into a place, a couple of mouths to feed somewhere along the line.
Yep.
And operating at a breakneck speed on a shoestring budget sometimes. There is just something, we take it for granted, right? Like when we go to restaurants, I think most of people take for granted what's behind those fucking swinging doors. Mm-hmm. But on the other side of swinging doors are people who are taking a lot of big fucking risks.
For sure.
And doing stuff that screws them up personally. You don't see a lot of happily married restaurateurs.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's very difficult to have all these things kind of fall in line. I'm going to ask you some questions about food.
Yeah.
What's the most overrated food or drink you're convinced people pretend to like? For me, it's grape jerky, raisins. I just don't enjoy raisins. I really don't feel like they bring anything to a party. I know that's kind of a real simple answer. I'll have Raisin Bran every now and again. Perhaps there's a little bit of sweetness. But if you give me, what's the anchovy dish? Pasta con sarde. Okay. Like if you give me pasta con sarde, they serve that traditionally with raisins, I believe. Ruins the dish for me. Like there are certain things.
A raisins guy.
Yeah, I'm not a raisins guy, but I also don't know if people who are raisins people are really fucking raisins. Mm-hmm. I don't know why it is. A lot of people would say caviar to this answer because a lot of people don't like it. I happen to be a caviar freak.
Same.
Don't order it by the pound, but still I'm a caviar freak. But what's that food that you think people almost pretend to like more so than are in love with it?
I would say that it's kind of more of an ingredient or a garnish. Fucking gold. Gold, gold leaf, gold spray, gold this, gold that, right? I mean, dude, even like you go to a fucking sushi spot or whatever and you get some
tweezers with the leaf.
Yeah, or this or that, or a gold this or a gold crust that. I go, dude, I get it. Like it's expensive or whatever. Mm-hmm. It brings absolutely nothing to the dish. Nothing.
Right.
And then I think people just that automatic like, oh, wow, I got gold.
Yeah.
It's almost silly. I'm like, dude.
It's all silly now. I went to Poppy Steak in Miami. Yep. I did the $1,000 ribeye down there. I'm telling you, there were 8 people brought it out. 8 people brought it out. Yeah, we had 6 people at the fucking table.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have my phone out at the time. And I'm not going against people take picture of their food. God knows that I'm guilty of it.
Yeah.
I just wanted a glass of water at the same time.
Yeah.
I couldn't get a fucking glass of water because we have the stupid smoking type thing. So I consider gold to be on there. Yeah. Jose Andres and Thomas Keller had a little debate on how crispy bacon should be. Mm-hmm. Jose Andres had said that he doesn't like bacon on the more well done side, right? Yeah. And who's the third? Maybe Jamie Oliver was the third at the table. And to me, he got so much hate because of that. And I live in a house where everyone likes their bacon well done. Mm-hmm. And maybe because I grew up in an Irish household, I don't. I kind of err on the side of my bacon still having a little bit of chew to it, as opposed to how traditional people now would like to have their bacon where it just disintegrates in their mouth and turns to dust. Where are you on that? That was like that was big when he said that.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple things. The 2 most important factors: 1, you're talking quality; 2, you're talking thickness.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
If we have those 2, what I do is like, say if I get, a big pack of Newski's bacon, right?
Right.
I'm in the restaurant.
Newski's, yeah.
I'll throw
streaky, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, not back bacon, just streaky bacon. Yeah.
I'll throw it into the combi oven on a steamer, whatever. Break it down a little bit more, get it a really nice tender, right? So now you're kind of like the soft pork belly.
Yeah.
Now you put it on the fucking flat top and beautiful crispy brown on the outside,
right on top.
melting in your mouth, fat in the inside, right? Because when you get it too crispy, man, you've now rendered all the fat away and you don't get that juice, right? I mean, something like if you get like everybody talks about steaks, blah, blah, blah. But say if you get like a Colorado rack of lamb and you cook it properly and the fat in between the loin and the bone and it's cooked perfectly, dude, that melts in your mouth so beautifully.
Yeah.
And that's what the right thickness, quality, and the cook on the bacon of that crisp outside and that melt in your mouth fat in the inside.
And
love it.
I agree with you there too, because you're talking about a slab thick bacon that comes off more as crispy pork belly where you still have a little bit of unctuous inside of it, as opposed to even, I'm guilty with the chicharron. Like sometimes I'll get a fucking that's just fried to death and I kind of like that where it picks up flavors. But in general, I think I'm a guy that likes my bacon a little less well done, even if it's a thin strip of Oscar Mayer bacon that you're throwing on a flat top in a luncheonette. I think I'm on the side of not as much.
Yeah.
Somebody else, this guy, Rory Sutherland, had said, is sushi only good because it's Japanese? And I said to myself, that is the most ridiculous thing I ever heard. But let's say somebody in Ireland came over and gave me a plate of raw fish and told, without all the, pomp and circumstance and culture and tradition around it. Isn't that fucking weird that, we've had ceviches, we've had things in other but do you think like sushi wouldn't be where it is today if it wasn't a Japanese dish?
You know what I think brings a lot to sushi? It's the culture and the care of how it's made and delivered. So I think the culture plays a big part into what comes onto the
traditions around what's in the plate.
Yeah. And just being extremely meticulous. I mean, from what rice you're using, the question, I never ask about the fish because anybody can buy the fish, right?
Yeah.
What I always ask omakase chefs is, you don't got to give me the recipe. I'm curious about your seasoning and vinegars. What do you use for vinegar?
Right.
What do you love, right? And it is just such a beautiful culture that is so meticulous about something where they take the best possible rice, the best possible vinegar, the best possible fish, soy, go down the line. So I think the culture is what makes it special because any buffoon can buy all the ingredients, but never make it the same.
And I think the way that I was fascinated with that saying, I think you could say that about every food that fits a culture so well as the Japanese, with however you feel they're regimented in their lives, however, like everything's very efficient, how they get on a fucking subway versus everything. It just seems to really make sense and resonate that it makes the dish, the culture that the dish came from.
Yeah.
You have to put 5, you come from a pizzeria background. You have to put 5 things on a pizza, not 4 because that's too easy and not 6 because that's too much. 5 toppings on a pizza is egregious to me. I'm very rarely one of the guys who like just drag it through the fucking garden because we're doing a traditional Neapolitan style, not any kind of, big, thick square. We want something that's going to have to hold up to it on a slice. What are 5 fucking toppings you would put on pizza that would work together? That's a tough question.
Yeah. I mean, at first I was like kind of ingredients. You're talking toppings.
So I'm going to give you a plain slice of pizza, cheese pizza.
Okay.
Pizza sauce, mozzarella, whatever. Okay. That's it. So to say that you're going to add grated cheese, that would be like saying you're adding salt.
Yep.
To say that you're adding crushed red pepper, that's a seasoning.
So let's count them out here. So I would do prosciutto, beautiful prosciutto.
Now, prosciutto out of the oven once it comes out of the oven, or do you cook it, or do you bake it?
No, don't cook.
Right. So once it comes out of the oven, then we're adding some torn prosciutto.
We're going to add it, right?
Yeah.
We're going to do a little spice sweet, and I'm going to do it with like a fig jam with Calabrian chilies.
Okay.
So that'd be 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We can go Calabrian chilies and fig jam. Yeah.
That's 3.
Yeah.
Fresh basil.
Okay.
And for the
Is that important to you? Fresh basil on a pizza? I typically don't put it on. Like when it comes in all the greatest pizza parlors, it's the first thing I take off.
Depending on the basil.
Okay.
I mean, great basil is phenomenal. Great basil's phenomenal. So if it is beautiful basil,
right,
that's going on as number 4. And I don't know if it counts or not. The most beautiful peppery extra virgin olive oil.
Done with me. A little drizzle of that over it. People don't realize that when people finish dishes with very good olive oil, it's what sends things to another level.
Yeah.
Like Bourdain said, sugar and butter is what sets restaurants apart from cooking at home. Not a sugar and butter. I think he used carrots as an example about how they do it. Carrots, sugar, and butter. But I do think that a good finishing oil, and I didn't until maybe 10 years ago, I didn't have the oil set I have now. You know? And that's why and I was saying one of the things that I don't want to see again, like you say, like, what would you like to see go away? What ingredient? And if you want to say it's gold leaf, to me, it's truffle oil. I think that people just leave that out, and I do not have a good experience with that compared to truffles.
Now it sucks because it's changed entirely. It's all aroma.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day, it was extra virgin olive oil and white truffle peelings.
It's not that anymore.
Not that anymore.
No,
it's a chemical. It's just, it is so potent. I mean, look, when you're in a dining room and someone shaves a fresh truffle anywhere near you, dude, you get a fucking hard on.
It's different, man.
Right? I mean, you're just like,
if you don't think you like truffle, if you think you don't like truffles because you didn't like the truffle and Parmesan fries you had at a fucking baseball game,
smelt like who knows. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's two totally different things.
Yep.
What's your favorite beverage, hot or cold? Not one that you only have to drink for the rest of your life, but that beverage that if it's wiped off the face of the earth tomorrow, you'd miss it very, very much.
It's funny how things like this change as you get older.
Yeah.
This one kind of, it's kind of silly. It's out there in the box. I always have it stocked in my fridge. Dude, ice cold, truly organic with one ingredient, coconut water.
Really?
It's fucking delicious.
Okay. So I don't have that in my arsenal.
So there's a lot of bullshit ones that have like 1% sugar and gum and this and that nonsense in it.
Right.
If you get a good one, truly organic, coming from the right place, ice cold with one ingredient, honestly, man, especially in Florida, you don't like cutting the grass. I like cutting the grass.
Yes.
And people think I'm fucking crazy. I cut the grass when it's 95 degrees, full sun. Like, I like sweating.
You like to be out, get all that out of
my parents are from a farm, but I like that. And I fucking open that. See, I come sweating from a fucking farm. I open that fancy fridge and get that ice cold coconut water.
Right.
Ah, man.
His ancestors were reaching into some sort of ice box that had ice delivered once a week.
Dude, my dad didn't have electricity.
Yeah, no, it's the same thing with mine.
Yeah.
And it's like, and now he's going from a full day of mowing his lawn and then reaching into the Sub-Zero and fucking pulling out a little bit of coconut water. How the mighty have fucking fallen. What food has the lowest floor and the highest ceiling? Like, what's that one where, where when it's bad, it's inedible. When it's good, it is divine. You can't say pizza, obviously, because bad pizza is still edible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's also one of my guilty pleasure things. Shitty sushi. I mean, we're talking like public strip mall, right?
Dwayne Reed has sushi now.
Right? I mean, we're a little bit up from there. The strip mall, public strip mall, right? You know that there's not a Japanese person works in the place. Yeah. So I go with the safest choices. And I'll get like yellowtail scallion, yellowtail avocado. Right. I'll stay away from all like the poison ingredients as much as possible. Yeah. So that's a pretty like low brow like sushi. Yes. And then when you talk about the other level of it, look, I love omakase in America. I love the experience of it. We call omakase everything. But I mean, if you're actually at a true, it could be in America or it could be in Japan. Right. You go into my friend's going to Japan next week. give me all these places. Give me all these places. I only want to eat at 2 of the big. I said, look, they're going to be pretty similar and they're all going to be minimal and they're only going to be about the sushi.
Right.
It's going to be natural wood, bright lights. It's going to be a Japanese dude with a helper. At some point, they're probably going to have a drink.
You're mentioning like and it just works.
It fucking
at that culture. Like even if you go to what is it? The Yakitori Toto. I used to go to the one up in the 50s too, where they used a hardwood lump charcoal, even just to grill these meats. And it would be like, knee tendon, like stuff that you typically, but for some reason I'm in a Japanese place. I just trust it and I love it. And they're just painting it with mirin and it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I never throw out Japanese as my favorite cuisine when people put a gun to my head, but man,
it's one of my
cuisine that just fits.
Yeah. It's top 3 for me.
Yeah. What is the Tim Duncan of foods for you? It's not flashy, but consistently puts up some big numbers for a very long time.
Person, food, place?
No, food. So like when I go to the ice cream truck, I see everything else. I'll get the Mario with the gumbo nose. I'll get the bomb pop. I'll get the strawberry shortcake. All those ones are sort of flashy. But then in the corner that no one's looking at, they always have just the ice cream sandwich. It's been there forever. And every now and again, I'll go to one and it's never fucking let me down. Like Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan didn't get the headlines sometimes when they consider who's the top 10 in this position. Sometimes Tim Duncan just gets forgotten about. That guy was the shit for a very long time and never took a fucking night off.
Yeah.
What is that in the food world for you?
It might be a little bit bougie for everyone.
Doesn't matter.
But I think if I see it on a menu and if people have balls to typically put it on a menu, it's probably going to be that fucking, right down the middle, dude, like a simple steak au poivre, steak frites.
Yeah, I think I agree with you 100% there. There are places that have perfected it and you would travel to do it. And as long as people stay, because some people put it on their menu and they don't follow the fucking rules either. It's not steak frites and it's not fucking steak au poivre, except for the fact that they typed it out. But man, I give that to me every fucking time.
I know,
as well.
right? And for
like
the
in a bistro in France.
Oh, forget it.
Forget about it. They make it on accident fucking better than anything. I mean, you can find it here. I mean, you go to Raoul's and
Raoul's my favorite restaurant.
Yeah, we'll do whatever we want here. It's fucking let's go right now. But yeah, it's consistently one of those things that I don't think people go out of their way for necessarily, but that's a Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
What meal would you be embarrassed if people know you eat regularly? I sometimes when I'm cleaning out the table and I throw something in the garbage from my kid's plate, it's still fucking fair game. I look around to make sure nobody's watching me, but I've eaten out of the garbage a couple of times.
Yeah.
I think I've put mayo on aspirin on more occasions than I want to fucking admit. What's that one that's embarrassing for Chef Michael Ferraro?
I would say maybe 2, but one we kind of already said. I would even think like back home in Orlando, if it were like a fucking Monday night and didn't want to cook and ordered the 3-roll special, and then somebody who I knew like from the restaurants would see me walking out of the Publix strip mall one with a 3-roll special. Like, damn, dude, this guy gets the 3-roll special from here. That's one of them. And I actually don't eat it anymore. But when I moved to Florida, I never had it in New York. But when I moved to Florida, I was like, oh, this is a thing. It was a fucking spicy chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A.
Oh, you love the spicy? Okay. That's it.
Never had one until I moved to Florida.
Get out of here, really?
Years ago.
See, I didn't have one until I moved to Atlanta a long time ago. But otherwise, obviously, Chick-fil-A wasn't what it is now either. So the spicy chicken sandwich from
with
Chick-fil-A.
all the fucking sauces.
Yeah, all that shit.
I get all the shit like when I used to I'd get all the fucking sauces, dude. Mix them together, make it shit, and slop it all up.
Oh, yeah.
Like a slop.
What meal you wish you can get back? I think about it all the time, and I use the example of one of the gentlemen we had on here said, I don't know how to answer that question. And in the middle of saying that, he's like, wait a sec. I used to get chicken nuggets and powdered mashed potatoes every Wednesday at school. I didn't realize how much I missed it. I'll never have it again. And I don't think I want it because I probably wouldn't appreciate it. But just the way I felt at that fucking lunch table every Wednesday with my buddies eating this shit, I wish I can get that back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep. So my dad's 84. So he still cooks, thank you, but he doesn't cook like he used to. And I think through the years, he's acknowledging the nonsense of like, you don't eat too much salt and this and that, whatever. But we're talking old school Giorgio, right?
Right.
And he used to make in the summertime baby stuffed eggplant. So when he would go to the farm and get the tomatoes for us to make the sauce or whatever, he would get a bushel of baby eggplant as well. What he did was he cut them in half, score them, blanch them in salted water. Okay, take them out, dry them. You scoop out the eggplant and you make it just like a meatball now. Mm-hmm. You mix it all like a meatball, restuff it.
Right. Pine nuts?
No.
No, okay.
Nope. Key to it, you stuff them, Parmesan, before you fry it. Pan fried, extra virgin olive oil. Pan fry them. I remember, oh man, my dad, I got to tell him this, but all my friends, so we're talking from high school to CIA to girlfriends. If they came around that time, they'd be like, the eggplant that we had last time. And when me and my buddies would go, all get fucked up, you know?
Yeah.
They'd all stay at my house. Dude, my dad, God bless the man, he would fucking make, I shit you not, there would be 50 halves of baby eggplant stuffed on the stove with foil on it. Dude, me and my friend would come home like animals.
Right.
And swipe them all.
And you'll never probably have it again. I mean, just because he's not cooking at this age, obviously.
Yeah. And again, like I think as you get older like that, man, you just don't cook the same.
Yeah.
You know, your doctor tells you this and that, whatever. But even that moment, right? Like we'd be coming in, you know, and my college roommate and a couple other guys and be like, yo, drunk.
Yeah.
Your dad left us eggplants. My dad would wake up in the morning, just see the empty plate still. I mean, the foil on the floor, the plate. Oh my God, man. What the hell happened? You guys must have got it really fucked up last night. You ate all the eggplants. And I mean, he just couldn't believe that we ate 50 halves of eggplants.
Yeah. 25 baby eggplants after a night of boozing.
You know what? When I opened the restaurant one day, dude, 100% is the stuffed baby eggplants. When in season and the right eggplant.
I can't wait.
The baby eggplants on the menu.
I want it right now.
Me too, man.
Yeah, let's go for it. Anything you don't eat?
Not really, but there is something that I dislike, and I've always remembered it. I was filming a cooking competition show in Taiwan, and we toured Taiwan for 8 days. And at the end of it, we basically had to like replicate some dish that we saw along the way or whatever, right? And one night we were at the night market, and we were fucked up, dude. Like, just drinking big Taiwanese beers, and you know, we're going through and we're pretty much wrapped filming. I mean, we ate like cobra snake that night, and then the guy brought me. He said, "Is that real cobra?" Dude, the guy brings in. I don't like snakes. He had like those little, you know, 1x1 lockers. Dude, he took the stick, he opened one up, and a little baby cobra comes out. I'm like, bro, enough. I believe you. Pork liver. We ate pork liver after drinking a lot at this night market,
right? Eating
all kinds of shit. And I just got like this gross, well done, gross pork liver.
It turned you off.
And I was like, ugh. I mean, dude, I've eaten the fermented shark in Iceland before. Mm-hmm. Like, dude, I've been out there. But this pork liver that night in that night market in Taiwan turned me off forever.
How do you feel about liver in general, though? Chicken livers.
Oh, I love,
yeah, of course. Okay, good. What's your death row meal?
The right burger, but a bacon cheddar burger with lettuce, tomato, red onion, mayonnaise, and a little bit of ketchup, and really crispy fries.
And that's what you would get right before you spin off this mortal coil. After everything you've done, like you casually say, I was in a cooking competition in Taiwan, that type of thing. But when it comes time to ring the bell for you, you're going out with a good old fashioned American bacon cheeseburger.
Oh man, like if you could get like, you know, if we're talking just straight simplicity, like, you know, Red Hook Tavern or Minetta burger.
So you're talking pub burger.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because I've been not down, but I've been kind of hot and cold on this whole smash burger type thing. Mm-hmm. They're very good. Mm-hmm. But I'm just sort of team pub burger. And a gentleman from Gotham, we're going to do some stuff with
Mike's
him.
Awesome,
yeah. So he's
so
like,
happy for him.
I'm going to make you, he's like, I'm going to turn you into a converter. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I like a big, my mom used to make them. They look like meatballs. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like they didn't even fit on a bun that well.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where I can agree with that too.
Yeah.
All right. So what am I looking out for? I'm looking out for you to call me and say, hey, Lawrence, listen, we got this place we're opening up.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go fucking guns blazing. And
Yeah.
I'll come down to Orlando and have one of the greatest meals of my fucking life.
Yeah. And you know, I'm like,
eggplant.
we're the baby egg. If you come the right time of the season, we could do baby eggplant.
Man,
Come
I
over
would
to
do
my
it in a
house.
second.
It'd be beautiful. But yeah, again, man, I'm like, you know, the Michelin stars or this or that, it's all great. It's good for business or whatever, man. You know, I want to create something that I love.
Yeah.
And what people love. And, you know, I think one of the main things that I miss about it all is the way that I ran deli and the people that worked for me through the years, man. To this day, I get random happy birthdays and Merry Christmas from the baristas, from busboys, from food runners. Restaurants have became about, of course, we have to make money. It's all about profitability. The human aspect of restaurants, where it is one thing, a meal can bring any cultures together.
Yeah.
You can get people who absolutely fucking hate each other and you bring them together over a meal and in a kitchen setting or a hospital environment, like, you know, like it erases all the bad stuff, man.
I agree. It's the only reason I do the show.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that if you unlock a core memory with people, and it doesn't have to be necessarily eggplant from your father or that thermos of tea my mom made when I was fishing when I was 7 or anything. It could be just the experience that I had last night at a fucking whatever, Qdoba.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, it makes people happy.
Yeah.
It makes people more agreeable, it makes friends and all that kind of stuff.
It's a community. Yeah. It's a family, right? And again, everybody got to make money. But I think when money takes first place over what you're trying to do, one, you never reach ultimate success, right? I mean, like take Prez, for example, right? Same shit.
Yeah.
Like never thought he's going to be this, whatever the hell he is, 500 millionaire or something, whatever, right? But I really believe in that. Just do what the fuck you believe in,
right,
and care about, and things fall into place. You know, if you set it out by saying, hey, I want to do this to get Michelin stars and be rich and do this, that, it's a hard path.
Yeah.
You know, if you follow what you believe in and the path and the purpose you're supposed to do, you fucking find it. It's not guaranteed to be easy,
right?
But you find it and it brings you the most amount of joy when you do that and not chase profitability and this and that. And again, I'm a numbers guy. Money's important. I mean, when you're scaling, you need the money to do it anyways.
Sure.
But the reasoning and the heart and the passion and the soul behind it. And that's cooking, man.
Yeah.
That's what cooking is.
Give me an insider thing from all the stuff that you've done with these Food Network people. When you were on Iron Chef, you won?
No.
You didn't win Iron Chef.
Nope.
What a fucking disgrace. Who'd you go up against?
Zakarian. I was at that time I was the youngest
Jeffrey.
Yeah. I was the youngest competitor. I was 30.
They let you know beforehand?
They give you
I'm fascinated by this.
5 potential ingredients, right? But you can kind of, and don't get me wrong, I wrote menus for all of them, which you have to do and submit them.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And an ingredients list, because you got to have your shit there.
Obviously, yeah.
But
a lot of people, I say obviously, it's not obvious to some people. Like people were flabbergasted when they found out that storage wars, that they were stuffing the lockers with 1,600 muskets from the 1600s. Like people just randomly add there. I think sometimes too, people are like, oh shit, they just told Michael that it's going to be Fiddlehead Ferns and he's going to go and create a fucking 7-course menu with it. You know?
Well, I mean, you would get a different type of show. Like I've cooked on the fly like that in many occasions.
You have, okay.
Whether they were food festivals that are, you know, an event, or other shows.
Chopped, do you have an idea of what's going to be there?
Zero.
Chopped is blind.
Blind, fully blind.
Yeah.
But Iron Chef, because the level you're cooking at.
Yeah.
So I filmed in July, right?
Mm-hmm.
So in July, my variables were asparagus.
Okay.
Not happening.
Yep.
Like if Iron Chef is going to do, if they're going to do asparagus, you have every variety, right? I had pork shoulder, a maybe, but not super exciting, you know. A black chicken, that was high up there on it. Could have been it. One more I don't remember, and peaches. And I said, July, I'm tripling down on peaches.
Yeah.
Man. And we made a killer dish from a lot of killer things from peaches. And actually I made a duck breast. What's the dude's name? Jeffrey Rosengarten, old school guy.
I don't know.
He was in food shows back in the day.
Okay.
He was one of the judges, and then Feed Phil.
Oh
was
yeah,
one
yeah,
of the
Feed Phil.
judges.
Yeah.
So the other dude, you know, he actually knew food and was like, and I did this fennel pollen dusted duck breast with duck fat peaches, duck fat peach butter, and chanterelle, and with just a beautiful duck breast. And that dude was like, it's one of the most beautiful pieces of duck I've ever had. But that kind of like fennel pollen duck breast in that realm has been like kind of a signature dish with me from something that I wrote from doing the show fucking 14 years ago.
That's great.
Yeah.
All righty, guys. So we're going to wrap up. We've been here a long time. Yeah, we did. I was like, I'll have you out of here in a half hour. So this is Chef Michael Ferraro. He's an old friend of mine. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I really appreciate you, Mike, coming in and carving out some time with me. I think that I could basically have you back and just throw out ingredients to you and just have you give me like an idea of, you know, just like you have to have an anecdote about escargot. You have to have an anecdote about just about anything that I throw out in front of you, which I think that's priceless for me. So I will encourage you guys still to leave a 5-star review or like and subscribe, whatever it is that we need you to do. And if you submit a question, obviously I'll get to them on the air, at least 1 or 2 questions a week. Appreciate everybody very much. Ian will be back next week, and that's it for us. And you got to try this.